Episode 48, yo. And we got a real cool special guest here. Chicken Boy, as most people might know him, but Eric Kranz.
Eric L. Kranz.
Kranz, that's right, dude.
That's what the envelopes used to say.
Well, people used to misspell his name all the time, so.
And I liked it.
Get up on that mic, big boy.
Get in that mic.
Getting up on the mic.
You got such a beautiful voice. Let's get that thing recorded.
Yeah,
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to.
All right.
I think you ought to go into the pizza making business.
I appreciate your choice of clothing for the podcast. I'm sure that you took at least an hour to decide what you wanted to wear. You know,
I took 30 seconds during dinner to make sure that I had something cool, and of course, it had shit on it. It just, it picked up. He had a luau a couple weeks ago, and
I was there.
Yeah, you were there, and the lay was there, and the lay is still here.
Oh. Yeah, I think you were wearing that shirt.
A washing did not relieve anything.
And a grass skirt as well.
Yes, a grass skirt as well.
It was a beautiful sight.
Well, it depends on your definition of beautiful.
Speaking of the luau, though, your Mai Tais are fucking deadly.
They are fucking lethal, man.
Because I wasn't feeling good at all. I was under the weather. You know, you got to go to this function. You're like, fuck, man, I don't feel good. I'm going to go to this thing, and you're antisocial because you just don't quite feel social. You don't feel good. Right. I'm on Chantix. I'm trying to quit smoking and shit again, and I'm all pissy and wanting to kill myself and stuff. And so, but it wasn't long. One Mai Tai, and I was like,
that's really all it takes, man.
I was like the super partier then. You know, I was like, everybody, come on!
I saw people go from antisocial to really cheerful and carrying on to completely faded in it just seemed like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
What do you mean by faded?
Faded, just like done drinking. And mentioning how messed up they were.
Yeah.
And they were all on the Mai Tais that night. It was funny.
Well, it was kind of funny because, you know, I really feel like in a way the party didn't quite start until I started making those Mai Tais.
Yeah.
Kind of kicked it into overdrive,
I think the thing that is so deadly about them is the incredible amount of pure booze that's in them. I mean,
I don't even want to know.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to reveal
I don't know.
the secret.
All I know is I had these plastic cups about that tall, and I was ladling it in there until it was full, like carrying it like, oh, I don't want to.
And then drinking it like it's Kool-Aid.
3 in a row, like within 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you think it's Kool-Aid.
They were tasty.
But it ain't.
It's one of those drinks to where...
And I thought I was going to get laid, but I didn't.
But you didn't.
I think she was a little faded, too.
Yeah, we were both faded. We took pictures of ourselves. Our eyes are... I was like, God damn, I get ugly when I'm drunk. Yeah, you get ugly when you get drunk?
Well, it just depends. Some days, usually I'm happy and then I fall over, and I don't know, I've taken a little sabbatical, so it was really fun at your party watching all these people get faded, and it's like, I'm going to go have a milkshake when I'm done, and I'm going to feel great, and I'm not going to be hungover. And the next thing I did, the next morning, I'm just, sitting around having my cup of coffee, and saw this long list of people on Facebook that were just completely just hungover bombed from Travis's party. It was great.
Right.
And I was like, yay, I win. I feel great.
My quit day, I started Chantix again for all the people that want to keep up with my smoking problems. For a while there, I got addicted to the Swishers again.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking I could just smoke them while I'm cooking out, I'll just cook out. I could have a Swisher, a couple Bud Lights. This ain't no shit. And the next morning, I'm like, I'm going to just run to the gas station and get some more of them Swishers. Never taste it.
Man.
Anyway, you get addicted pretty easy. I was on Chantix at your party.
Yeah.
My actual quit day was... it was supposed to be on the following Monday. We went to your party on a Saturday. I quit Sunday morning because I didn't want to get off the couch to go smoke.
Oh,
that's how I felt. Yeah.
Oh man.
You did too get laid.
Oh yeah, I guess I can't remember.
See, I thought that this was going to be like a
basically making a joke about being too drunk to have sex, but.
Absolutely got laid.
Why don't you have a seat in here? Why don't you come in and have a seat? She lied on me. All right, I got laid. Thanks for clearing that up, honey. Thank you.
To the pub.
I just don't remember it.
But I forgot.
Anyway, so for me, Eric, I don't know. The circles when they mix in the scene, when we're all kind of coming together and we find out who each other are. I didn't know of you until the One Night Standards, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of heard of that, and I kind of knew that was a different kind of music than what I was used to.
Right.
Because that's all like, how would you describe it?
Well, it's instrumental surf with a little bit of rockabilly and, just a lot of reverb and
Yeah.
Not a lot of bass guitar, which is what I play in the band.
Right. Which is good.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
an
it's
easy
kind
gig.
of in the pocket.
Is that your shit? I mean, is that your kind of music? That's your shit?
You know, I really enjoyed it. I've been doing it for 12 years, off and on. And I took a little sabbatical from that band to do a solo recording. And me and Scott were about to kill each other in the process of making a record.
Scott Hout,
yeah,
right?
Scott Hout.
He's a funny fucker, man.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
hilarious.
He's one of my best friends.
I was
in
talking
rare
his
form.
ear off at your
Dude,
party.
his
man.
eyes were increasingly slit-like as
Yeah.
the evening wore on.
When we talk about Faded, we talk about that guy.
Yeah.
It's whenever you feed him shots, that's it.
Well, I felt pretty good about it because, I guess usually his MO is like sweet drinks and shit like that. He just doesn't even touch them.
No.
Doesn't like them, doesn't touch them.
Nope.
But he was like, Travis, these are marvelous. So I was like, yeah, score one. Score one for the Mai Tai.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Before you started doing, the musical category of instro,
Right.
of instrumental, you always were, I always knew you to be composing original music. And I think the thing that's kind of interesting about how most people know Eric now, it sort of doesn't have anything to do with the way I know you at all.
I know.
Like, I mean,
Nope.
I knew you when you were just kind of getting started doing live sound, and
Right.
doing that all the
Right.
time. But I think you were doing that more out of like desperation than pleasure.
I did it because I was not happy with flipping burgers for a living.
Yeah,
really.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And I was about, I think my first gigs were right around 18 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you right now that I mostly know you from that aspect of the sound guy aspect, and I know that my drummer Matt Finn and anybody in my band would know. They're like, I know Chicken Boy because that's what they hear me call you, and people around,
Right.
Kenny and all them call you
Right.
Chicken Boy. So he picked up your Chicken Boy.
Gotcha.
And they're always like, whenever we book a show at Rascals, the next question. Do you know what I mean? You send the
Who
group
runs out?
text out to the band, hey, can we play like the 18th at Rascals? They're like,
Right.
is Chicken Boy doing sound? Period. And because we had such a good experience, the first couple times we played there when you were
You
running
guys were a
sound.
blast because, that's really where I came up. Doing this was still back when when you talk on your show about hair
Right.
metal, and
Right.
I'll just lump it right there. I mean the scene was full of it then.
Yeah.
It was the early '90s and oh man, it was just a dime a dozen. Those bands were out, and there's crank the delay on the ends of every sentence, and away you go.
But you'd be
Acoustic guitar
surprised.
solo, and
Right. You'd be surprised, though. You'd be surprised how many sound guys stare at me like I just said some foreign word to
Right.
them when I say, hey, we want some delay on the vocals. Oh, and
Right.
you're probably going to need a longer decay on that snare.
Sure.
And they look at me like, decay? What's
Yeah.
decay on a
Yeah.
snare? You put
Right.
reverb on a snare?
I never heard that on a Nirvana record.
Right.
What you
And that's what killed it was Nirvana.
Yeah, trust me.
As long as with Cherry Pie, Warrant and all that, that's what killed. That's what killed it was Nirvana.
Here go. I'll
It's
go
all
off.
plain.
I'll go off on
Yeah.
a little thing that usually I would edit out later, but because I hate to hear myself talk. Do a podcast, you'll hate to hear yourself talk.
I hate
But-
hearing myself talk anyway. But
I love the
I hate hearing
conversation.
you talk too.
Yeah,
I just love the
Feeling
conversation.
mutual, bud.
Yeah. But coming up in the band, like, in 1996, I formed Drop Hammer.
Right.
And I wanted to do what Drop Hammer did, which is that kind of progressive 80s metal, like the blend of all our favorite idols shit
Sure.
out. So when we go out to play then, this is when that whole thing had switched. The Disturbed was starting to hit and all that kind of music. So sound engineers and all that, they were playing, they were used to mixing modern shit, which is real dry.
Right.
Real dry and so we'd come up there and we'd have to play through that and have sound guys that you say I want delay on the vocals. You may hear like hey. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
no, I mean some like delay on the
It's
vocals.
like
goddamn
always
it.
there.
Like,
Yeah.
Like go out in my car, listen to Journey, and then come back in here and run our sound or
Right.
something because
Yeah.
you need some glass on the vocals. And I would just say to him, I'm not that good of a singer, so you're gonna have to glass it up. That's what
Glass
I would
it up.
always say. I'm
Yeah.
not feeling very good
Yeah.
tonight.
And one thing that really pisses me off about sound guys, being a sound guy, is you get the glass, you get it really cool, and you get it going, and then the song's over, and the next thing you know, the guy's talking, and it's like, hey guys,
Yo.
how's it going tonight? you all getting drunk, and it's like, turn the delay off, please.
Excuse me, but third rail, that's why we made so much goddamn money, is because we didn't have a sound guy. We just set the PA and went.
Right.
But they said it with all that delay and shit, you know what I mean? And so, and the whole time I was in the band, I didn't ever figure out how to like build a kill switch for that or something, or bypass or two. You know what I mean? Or, I could have fixed it, but I was like, fuck it.
Whatever.
I didn't even think about it until I was at the purgatory, you know, standing in between songs going, you guys getting drunk? I'm like,
if you're up there with your own PA, then you got an excuse at least.
Yeah.
Then you got the asshole sound guy. He's all checking his phone.
Every sniff.
when I probably just could have took the mic and went, hey, how's everybody doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then just sang into it when I was looking to sound cool.
Sure.
Anyway, so yeah, that's one thing that we noticed. And the sound check just went so much quicker. It seemed like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you know, give me a kick. You know, okay, snare. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, there's a lot of pre-setting up you can do that a lot of people just don't do. They listen to it, and where I found it fortunate is over the years I've dealt with better and better quality PA gear and stuff, and you know the microphone, you know the board, you know your speakers, you know your amplifiers, and at that point it's kind of predictable so you can get a little bit of a head start that way. But
I mean, what's the company that you work for?
I work for it's called RS Companies, but it was formerly known as Rex Road Sound.
Okay.
The reason it's RS Companies now is because we've taken over a bunch of different avenues of the business. So basically, we're in a position to where we can put a concert together for like 25,000 people in a cornfield, and all they'd have to bring is the food and the bathrooms.
Wow.
We literally supply the power and the staging and the lighting and the sound and all that stuff.
That's right.
All right, so let's get to brass tacks here.
Oh boy.
So when Dive Bomb did the Night Ranger thing, you were on that show. You were running monitors, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like, what do you think that show cost?
Well, I would wager to say the band was around probably.
No. I'm just talking about production. How much was production for like in an arena, like at the iWireless? How much? How much is that? Is half house production? Okay.
Boy, I mean, that's a tricky one. I would say somewhere, low five figures.
Really?
Yeah, as far as, PA, and we did lighting, and then actually brought in the monitor board, which is
when you say low five figures, we're talking 10,000.
Yeah,
10,000
somewhere
bucks?
between 10 and 15.
I'm not trying to get you busted. I'm just saying generally, like, what do you think a show like that would cost?
Brian
I'm not
always
saying
likes to talk about money.
Yeah, I don't.
Brian always likes to talk about money. And every time he starts talking about money, that's when everybody goes, ugh.
And you know what? And everybody that's listening right now is thankful that Brian wants to talk about money.
Exactly.
I dig it. Man. Because nobody wants to talk about money.
Right.
Nobody wants to fucking talk about money, and it's what we all want to know about.
Because
it's like Dish. It's like this. That's when the show becomes like The View or something. That's like the moment.
I'm used to calling guys and be like, "Hey, dude, we need a system. We can't spend any more than $350 bucks."
Right. And we're like,
yeah. Is it outside? Yeah, it's outside. We got 4 opening bands.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'd never
Call
do
Matt
that.
Balzer.
I would understand.
Right.
Yeah. Call who?
Call Matt Balzer. $250 special. You run it.
Although, dude, I've been at some shows where Matt was fucking sounded great.
He had a badass PA. I was like all PV gear too.
Yeah.
He had like a PV gear and a Mackie board, and I tell you what, I had a great time with that system, and there was lots of little bells and whistles, but it was all like sitting on this freaking like lighting stand.
Yeah, right.
It was
it was
milk
crates.
It was a big deck with it was sitting on a stand, and the whole thing swiveled.
Yeah, right.
But I tell you what, that thing sounded amazing.
Right.
And it was super quick to set up. And
when I just realized that this is going to be probably one of my favorite podcasts because I get to actually talk to a sound guy. Because you can't talk to a sound guy unless you're like, more monitors, please. On stage. We usually don't talk too much before and after unless we're making fun of each other and that, but I get to talk shop with you.
Right.
And this is cool. I think a lot of people that play in bands would like to hear the perspective of the sound guy. You know what I mean? And not to say that you're just a sound guy, but how did you learn to set a mix?
My pappy taught me, Dean Bryant. As most people know, is a electronics guru and guitar player around town for 40 years.
Yeah.
And he's been doing that the whole time. And He helped me do my first mixes. I was mixing at the Clipper at about 17. They were sneaking me in the side door and like, yeah, can you run sound, and then you can replace Jerry in this band because he's got to go work at the bakery from 1:30 to 3.
Right, yeah.
So I'd run sound all night and then play drums for the last set. Some kind of wonderful dunk, you know.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, that's
So
really
what
where I
board? Do
cut
you
my
remember the
teeth.
board they had at the Clipper?
Oh, geez, it was some sort of like Yamaha 1602 or 1604, some.
And it
like,
never left. It just was there all the time.
No, and it was dusty.
It was permanently glued there from like
Yeah.
spilled beer, like
caked in smoke and just ashes, and
Is
it was
it
gross.
the one? Is it the one with the click gain staging? Like
No.
okay, because
No.
that one's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a killer board.
Right.
Yeah, the PM 1000.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the dynamics of the pig pen. Or I'm sorry, not the pig pen, but the Clipper. Same
Yeah,
thing.
Clipper. Yeah.
But,
Same thing.
Yeah.
so you walk in the Clipper. I know a lot of people that are listening to this show know of the Clipper. But
Right.
the PA is all on one side of the stage.
Yeah, like by the bathrooms.
Right by the
yeah,
bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the bathrooms helped with like the lows as like a bath, like
Right.
an extra chamber for the.
It did, but it made it really confusing.
Because I know
up
it
in
blew the
booth.
urinals off the wall and people still pee. I remember going to the bathroom, the urinals, the bottom's busted off, and people still standing there pissing on the wall. You know what I mean? I was
It
like,
looks
what
like something that resembles something that I like to pee
Right.
on, and I'm drunk. I don't give a fuck.
Right, exactly. Well, I think that, it was just the nature of the clientele there. But what was weird about that was the booth that was up probably 4 feet in the air,
Yeah.
and had this giant chamber under it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you felt the bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to feel the bass on the floor, you better be getting killed in that thing. And then
Yeah.
if you were getting killed in that thing, then Lee and Darlene were getting killed behind the bar, and they're like, turn it down, turn it down.
Yeah.
And that was a constant thing.
Yeah.
constant battle.
But yeah, I mean, and not only that, but there was every mismatched, non-phase coherent box put
Yep.
in that place, and
Yep.
it just it was a nightmare trying to get it to sound good in there.
Did it have like a rain crossover probably,
Yes.
and a rain, the one with the RTA built
Right.
in? Yeah, dude.
And owned by guys that said, "Do not touch
Do
that.
not touch,
Do
yeah.
not touch this compressor that keeps my speakers from blowing."
Yeah,
and sure
right.
as shit, they blew their speakers.
Yeah, absolutely, they did.
They did not.
Dumbasses.
I wrote this big, long, experience of going to the Clipper on, I think it was back in MySpace days. I put some, could you post on MySpace? I don't even remember what you could do on MySpace.
I think you
Besides,
could comment and put
yeah.
pictures and put annoying music on there. So
Yeah.
you're like,
And so it crashes your computer when you go to your page.
Right, yeah.
God, what an antiquated piece of shit. Is it
was
still
terrible.
around?
No, it's dead, man.
It's gone.
Fox News bought them. And then
Whoa.
they tried to make that their, I think that's right, and they tried to make that their social media, and it just was a piece of shit. by
Here's
that
what
point.
makes me feel kind of cool, because I'm going to be able to tell my kids. I remember like starting my Facebook account and being like, this ain't going to do shit. This is
Right.
stupid. What's Facebook? This
Yeah.
is stupid.
I had my,
You can't even put naked chicks on here. You
Here's
know what
what's
I mean? It's
fucked
like,
up.
this is dumb.
right.
I had my Facebook account for a year and forgot that I had it. And then it started getting popular. And I'm like, oh, I need to go check out this Facebook. And I tried to put in my credentials and it said, no, somebody's already got these. And I was like, what?
Oh, boy.
Oh, okay. And I just logged in. All right. I guess I'm already on this fucking thing.
But that whole phenomena or whatever, I saw, you and I, we all
Right.
saw it happen. And our kids are going to be like, it just existed.
It just
They're going to think it
existed,
existed
yeah.
since like 1800.
Right.
You know?
And what's crazy is that used to be strictly college for them.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It did. It used to be just like an online yearbook, basically.
And it really,
Now it fucking rules my life.
yeah, and it really wasn't that long ago because I mean, not much older than my kids, which my oldest is 8, and so it must have been like I don't know, 10, 11 years ago. It was strictly college.
Yeah.
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 I
And
don't
then all
know.
of a sudden it was just like a switch, and then bam, it
Yeah.
was billions
They got-
of people.
How did I even bring up
capitalized.
Facebook? I was going to
Well,
say
it was
anyway.
just- it was
I
just the whole
posted on
MySpace
MySpace,
phase.
Right.
I
Yeah.
posted on MySpace about my experience of going to the Clipper, and I mean, I sat there and I really just I rewrote lines like, oh goddamn, it was a masterpiece, okay?
Right.
And I post, and sat back and like nothing happened for like 2 days. I was like, nobody fucking can get off on what I just said about going
Yeah.
to the Clipper. Did I say
Right.
Pigpen again?
Right.
Anyway, the
Going to the
Clipper.
Clipper, yeah.
I mean, because my whole thing, I think it just included these elements. You have, if you park kind of a distance away, you park closer to the district,
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Chantilly Lace and all that.
Sure.
So you park your car, right, and
Yeah.
you get out and you got long hair flowing. Well, I did, and thinking, okay, and then the car in front of you parks, and it's some jock dude, Barbie and Ken, getting out of their car. You know what I mean? And and we kind of cross each other, and they kind of know where I'm going, and I kind of know where they're going.
Right.
But it was sometimes fun to watch the people that were supposed to go that way, but they just checked out what was going on down there.
Because back in that
scary.
day, there was the district, and the Clipper was not the district.
No, it wasn't. There was absolutely
a thing.
Yeah.
You know, there should have been somebody at the street like, oh, you don't want to go down there. You don't want to go down the street.
Right.
Anyway, so you know, get out of your car, you pass some of the preps going the other way. Nothing wrong with preps.
Right.
But you know, and you kind of smell that stale vomit and cigarette and beer smell, and you're like, I'm getting closer. I'm getting closer, man.
Then.
And then you can kind of make out this faint, like kind of tinny, shitty played. And you're like, fuck, they're gonna play that song, and it's some other band that's coming through that plays the exact same fucking covers as the other bands, you know.
Yeah, but then the lead guitar player went someplace different with the solo and put some sweet arpeggios in there. So you know what, man, I'm gonna hang out.
That makes it different.
That makes it different.
What I find funny about the whole, like you were saying, I was kind of on your radar around this time of the standards is. Hanging out with this cat for a gazillion years, you were on my radar like before I was even around the Clipper too much. I had already, I'd totally heard of it, but you were like still in the guitar contest and stuff. So I mean, you were still a teenager and stuff, and it was
that's
so
around
funny.
the time that Eric and I met.
Yeah. Well, I met you at that time too. It's just we didn't become friends because you were, we were like two different Jedis from two different
pretty
fucking.
Much, yeah.
And we were in kind of the same boat. I mean, you were like totally this like metal, and I just kind of started discovering Nirvana around that point.
Yeah.
And even you were like all Pantera, and I was all like Nirvana.
Yeah. I loved Bleach though.
Oh
wait. I loved Bleach though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. You were an all Pantera dude at one point?
Oh,
you didn't know. You didn't know. I believe I have made clear my dalliances with metal on the show.
All right.
If I didn't make it clear, let me just say that my now modern hatred of metal comes from an extremely honest place.
It does.
It does, man. I played nothing but metal and was obsessed with heavy metal guitar tone for years. I mean, it was I woke up in the morning and was sticking my ears in speakers.
Dimebag single-handedly like changed how mid-range performs on any amp. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, the crank had obviously it was endorsed by the Dimebag. So, but that amp to me, it's a great tube amp, but I don't like an amp that's designed after a certain genre of metal.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I do. I totally do. It's one of those things where it's like professional wrestling or like fucking Everlast logos or fucking Affliction. You know what I mean?
Affliction. That's my favorite, man. That's my favorite.
Like,
There's still dudes, man, walking in the bars with their $250 bedazzled pants, man.
Are you afflicted
Affliction
with?
shirts.
Yeah. What is it? True Religion.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Trust me, I got off on that for a while. I was like, all right, I could dig this because I was working out. I was feeling all young and watching the UFC and shit. I was like, I never got a tap out shirt though.
No, you never got a tap out shirt?
Right. Because you know what that screams to everybody? It's like, I know how to fight because I watch MMA on TV.
That's right.
That's right.
And to everybody else, it's we're gonna fuck with that guy.
And to everybody else, he spent $40 on that shirt, dude. That shirt was $40 at the buckle. I guarantee it. And it just has like eagles on it and skulls and shit. It's stupid.
All right. How do you pronounce this word? XYIENCE.
Oh, yeah, it's got to have a Roman numeral on it too. Yeah. I had to check, make sure I wasn't wearing an Affliction shirt right now. Right. It's like, the joke's on me.
Yes.
Right. That's okay. I don't fit into any of my Affliction shirts anymore.
To get back to how close our circles connected. Around this time, Eric and I had been playing in a band together, or trying to play in a band together, playing my original music. In the basement of Rich Harris.
Yep.
And you had a band there at the same time.
You're fucking right. I didn't just have a band. I had a juggernaut.
Yeah, you did.
Of noise down there.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And I mean, I remember coming down there and seeing all this gear and cymbals up to here.
Yeah. Hanging from the ceiling on chains.
And I could just imagine the drummer just like, whoa, doing all the stick twists.
Oh, for sure.
Boom, 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 and huge hair.
Right.
Brian just windmilling it.
Oh, yeah. That happened on a nightly basis.
And our shit was just like in the corner. I had this toy-looking drum kit, and he had a half stack.
Yeah, exactly. I had a half stack, and then it was parallel to like a Fender Bassman 50 with an oversized 212 cab.
Here's talking about them days, man. That's awesome. Okay, so we had
stacks.
We all knew this guy, Rich Harris at Rand Sound. He's now in prison for doing bad shit. But he rented out his basement to bands sometimes.
Right.
And so what happened? Oh, screensaver?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just didn't know if that thing went to sleep or what.
He rented his basement out to bands, and we would go down there and practice. So my band Drop Hammer, that was the first place that we rehearsed.
Oh, really?
So we could practice at Rich's house, and I remember carrying in all my cabinets. I'm bringing in 412s, and Rich was like, and him and the dog are both like, watch this, walk through the living room like this. Oh, that was horrible. But anyway, so I'm carrying in all of our equipment, and Tony Higbee was in the band at the time. He had a Carvin bass stack, and the other guitar player had a Marshall stack or whatever it was. So, and the drummer had a double bass, purple Tama Rockstar kit, you know what I mean? Two ragtimes, like two big floors.
Yeah.
Double kick, the China way up, it was cool looking.
It looked like fucking Winger down there.
It did look like Winger. Why do you have to say Winger?
It was great. Dude, I love Winger.
I know.
Sorry.
But no.
I just told the YouTube world that I love
with you?
Winger.
Yeah.
Wrong with
And so we had like 32 12-inch speakers going.
Yeah.
32 12-inch speakers going, and like to sing through, I had like one floor monitor with a 10-inch speaker in it. You know what I mean? With like an 800-watt QSC or whatever them QSC.
QSC, yeah.
Like amp just redlining.
MX800 channel.
I'm like, I'm trying to scream over the band.
Yeah. Good luck.
And that amplifier was like, oh.
Right, but we would come down to practice, right, and there would always be these other bands that had rented the other third.
Right.
Because we took like 2/3 of it. We're like, fuck you guys, we're Kiss and stuff. So anyway, there'd be a different band, and we'd always just kind of come down and look at their equipment and be like,
yeah, that was us.
What is that?
That was us, exactly.
Is that a PV Bandit? Oh God, you know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Yeah. So it was weird because we were young and insecure, and we
what I don't like about PV Bandits, man? You just can't quite get enough edge. You need some edge. A little more bottom.
You just got to turn the knob harder.
Yeah, it sounds like you have like maybe
edge.
You put a blanket on top of the amp, let it droop over the speaker a little bit.
Yeah,
right.
Sounds like that.
And shove a mic under there. There's more edge. You got some edge now?
So but I don't think I ever ran into you guys there.
No,
I don't think I ever did once.
Nope.
I don't know. I think Rich liked to sort of keep everybody in separate circles.
Compartmentalize.
He didn't want any of us cock blocking any of the other ones.
I tell you what, that fucking dog though.
What was that fucking dog's name, dude?
Cody. Cody.
Yeah.
And I used to literally throw that
dog named Cody.
Yeah.
Codi. Shit.
I've told this story on the podcast before, but I'm going to do it again, just in case people like are just watching this for the first time or whatever. But if I said this before, fuck off. But so Drop Hammer's practicing down there. The basement. You come down the steps. You go to the right. There's a long room there.
Right.
We were set up long ways too, so we can get the real feel and effect of a Madison Square Garden stage. Right.
On stage.
And we faced away from the drummer all the time.
I noticed that. Yeah. You guys weren't all.
We played like we were on stage.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so the dog. We knew Rich, you'd hear that fucker upstairs, you know what I mean? And it would come to that door that he tried to keep shut at the top of the step.
Tried.
Right? And we were always kind of practicing and always kind of keeping an ear on that fucking door up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he would hit it sometimes. You know what I mean? And we're like, ew.
Claws and all.
Yeah.
One day, we were down there practicing and we stopped in between songs. We're like, yeah, man, that song, we heard the door, heard the hinges on it. And we heard that fucking dog hit the top of the steps, okay? It starts to come down the steps.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's a fucking dog coming down the steps. Not Rich. Rich don't move that quick.
Nope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'd have farted and like, hey, and like maybe three, But that dog came down them steps. It was skipping. It was probably doing every fourth or fifth step. You know what I mean? So it was like 3 strides for the dog because it's been waiting.
Yeah.
Because it's been like... sniffing at that door. It's like, I'm going to kill one of you long-haired motherfuckers as soon as I catch you.
There's a whole basement.
That son of a bitch came down and hit the bottom of the steps. It was linoleum down there. And I remember watching that dog slide sideways, trying to, like, coming around that corner, sliding, and everybody, just instruments and all, just cords popped out of our amps and everything. There was a phone booth at the end on the other end of the room, right? He had down there, and everybody in Drop Hammer fit in that phone booth with their instruments. And we were in that so much like this, like, with our amps. Oh, it was horrible,
man.
Man.
Good reason. I saw that dog bite Rich to get at me one time. Really? Yeah.
Bit his owner
in the leg trying to get at me. And I was like, fuck that dog.
Yeah, fuck that dog. Yeah. Dude, I hated that dog.
I ended up getting along with that dog at one point, but it was after a bunch of cheeseburgers throwing it over the fence. He's like, oh, yeah, just jump the fence and go into the door. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. That dog's going to kill me.
That dog's going to eat my face.
I literally stopped at McDonald's on the way and just flipped it over the way and slipped in there.
That was the way to do it, man. Because me and Jerry tried it this way. We would notice that if you came within 100 yards of the house, the dog about broke the front window out of the house and knocked the curtains off and shit. You know, it's in the I mean, the curtains are off now. You know what I mean? Drool all over the window. You know what I mean? We're like, shit.
Settle down.
Yeah. Well, Rich wasn't there, and we needed to get a piece of gear to go play a gig or something. And so we're like, we're not getting in here. And so Jerry's big idea was, hey, dude, keep him up here, keep him occupied, keep at the window, you know, flip him off and like, yeah, fuck you, dog. You know what I mean? And I'm going to jump the fence in the back and go open the back door and just open it. Right. And then jump back over the fence, or no, go down the basement, close the door. Something. He was going to do something to where the dog would, you know, and then he'd make a noise and the dog would run out the back door. And then we just close the door. Right. Well, we tried that and it backfired drastically because I was at the front going, fuck you, fuck you. And the dog was like, rah, rah, rah. Anyway, and it heard the fence go chink like that in the back when Jerry was trying to climb it. And it was like, huh? And it was like, tore off, and I was like, no, a board is coming, man. And fucking Jerry opens that door, and there's a dog right there, man. You know what I mean? And Jerry got back over the fence before, but now we've got Rich's doors open in the back, and the dog, you know, protecting the whole house. It was all fucked up.
That is fucked up, man.
Anyway,
crazy
I don't know if that
times.
Was, yeah.
It's like the old Sandlot stories about the dog.
It totally is. That was like our Sandlot.
Yeah.
The heavy metal Sandlot.
Oh, man.
So let me get back to the sound thing, because this is kind of what interests me about this whole situation is, you know, what do you have to usually say to bands that are brand new?
Usually it's, you know, tune up and shut the fuck up.
Really? Tune up?
Yeah. Well, I like it. You know, I like a good clean stage and, you know, people not up there noodling and all that stuff. I mean, it's what anybody would want. I mean, you don't want a amplifier going off in your ear when you're trying to mic it. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, there's a lot of instances it's like, hey, I got this new amp and check it out, blah, blah, blah. And you know, the only real good way is if you can just put up, you know, 57 up to it, microphone, and you don't have to do anything to the EQ. You just turn it up. And it's like, glass. Yes, great. But as far as like new up and coming bands, it's.
Who's your favorite band to mix?
Locally right now?
Yeah. What three bands would you be like, cool, I'm going to have fun tonight?
1152's one.
Fuck yeah.
They're a fucking good time to mix.
Dude, I've heard your mix of them.
They're super nice guys, and they have their shit together as far as tone goes. Mm-hmm. I've had some good 3 Years Hollow nights. I've had some really good dive bomb nights.
You didn't have to include my band because I'm sitting here.
I don't.
Yeah, you did.
You were feeling like you did.
He actually did, didn't he?
Sucked.
No.
I only gave him 3 slots, so he's like, fuck, I'm going to have to bump Lynn Allen out for a fucking dive bomb now.
No, they're a great time, too. You know, I mean, Billy's been hammering at it for a gazillion years, and he's got his shit together, and, you know, he's older now, so he's not all, you know, 160 dB off the stage. This is the way it's going to sound. It's loud. You know, everything's real reasonable that way. Everybody's got good tone that way. Gosh, I've had some other real good ones like Tennis Hole. Actually, I had a real bad experience with them, and then turned around and had a really awesome experience with them.
What band was that?
Tennis Soul. That's Buddha Robertson.
Are you saying Buddha. Tennis Soul?
10 of Soul.
10 of Soul. Okay, I thought you said Tennis Soul or something.
Basically, it's a rhythm section and a guitar player and keyboard player and 3 lead singers and 4 horns.
Wow.
And we had them in Rascals a couple times, and it was just a nightmare. Because, you know, the horn is the loudest instrument on the stage. Yep. And I just had a temperament with the horns. They were discouraged because they're like, well, we're not going through the PA. And I'm like, well, you're not playing a solo. Yeah. You know, because you're the loudest person up there.
Totally.
And I tell you what, I did a show with the Zap Band last spring. The old... what is that? It's like the talk box with the keyboard.
Vocoder, yeah.
Yeah, well, they had little vocoders, and it was super fun. But anyway, Tennis Soul opened for them, and I tell you what, it was one of my favorite mixes of the year.
Cool.
You get them in a bigger area, and it was just night and day difference.
I just think, and I don't know, I mean, you got a lot more experience with it, but you know, the mix work that I've done mostly has been just in a studio.
Making Mai Tais.
No mixology.
Right.
I just think that when you've got acoustic instruments on stage that are themselves present, it just has a way of keeping the rest of what you're doing honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It just makes it so that it seems like if you can come correct to what already sounds correct on stage, you got something great.
Well, it has everything to do with this and maybe this.
Yeah, right.
And definitely this.
Yeah, for sure.
And the more electricity you put into it, the more you're going to cloud up the sound.
Well, there's some people that just listen to the podcast. What were them 3 things again?
Oh, I completely forgot.
Well,
It comes to
sometimes this,
the
and
drums,
definitely this.
the vocals.
Well, I think what he's really hitting at is the idea that most of what goes wrong really is just instrumental error. Is people not using their instruments in a way that's conducive to getting a good
people
mix.
Trying to mask their ineptitude with more effects,
more
and
effects,
fluff.
more distortion.
I can tell you right now that in my path with Drop Hammer, you know, the only thing that we could really do was open for a bunch of other kind of that style of music, and they were always kind of 80s bands that were coming back down the ladder. So we got all these opening slots, and I had to learn really fast how to be. I almost prided myself in it as far as the production crew. We are a hindrance to them. You know, I understand that. You know, I understand that the opening band, the local
As far as
support,
being an opening band,
the local support is going to be like, you know, we can make it real easy and get the best out of them, or we can irritate them and get treated like shit.
Because
Don't
as
be a
far as
fucking
production
drag.
goes, you're an afterthought.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're paid as a production guy. You're paid to be that way.
Right.
And it's, you know, you can be a nice guy all you want, but you know, the more of a nice guy you are, the more the guy that's paying you is riding your ass.
They're more work.
Yeah.
They're more work because you already did the work for the other stuff.
Sure.
You know, we show up, you know, the typical opening for a band, everybody knows how this goes. You show up when you're supposed to be there, load ins at 3, you get there at 3, you're told that you're going to get a sound check at about 4.
And 5:30 rolls around.
And then about 8 o'clock, the band's almost done sound checking, except they need to kind of move the mic on the cowbell, and then they'll be back in 20 minutes to check that. So don't put anything on stage. Don't move nothing. Don't move nothing.
Right.
So your job is to set up and almost be playing your first song at the same time, like carrying amps up and playing your first song somehow. You know what I mean?
Can we
that
open
could
the
be a
door?
scenario.
Nope, not quite yet. Well, we're opening the door anyway. Okay, well, I'm going to finish sound check now.
We were always prepared to have our shit up like that. The drums were already assembled. We were ready to just lift them up there. And, you know, hindsight is like, I should have never put the band in a situation where we risked sounding like assholes or sounding bad because we just wanted to look professional to the production.
Sure.
You know, I battle that sometimes now, but I still prided myself in being one of them bands that they were like, all right, droop hammer, drop the hammer, go ahead. You know, and we'd be like, done, we're ready.
I think
you know what I mean?
I think the argument that you made at the beginning though was a good argument about that it isn't so much just wanting to like impress them as professionals or something, but you wanted to impress upon them the idea that you're not trying to make their lives hard.
Sure.
And you know, that might actually go a little further toward getting a good sound, provided that, you know, I mean, at least the rest of your setup is, you know where the knobs go on your amps and you know how to play your songs.
I was more like this. I was waiting. My band knew. The guys in Drop Hammer knew.
Right.
You go up on stage, you get your shit set up. You make sure your guitar's tuned quietly without fucking playing through your amp.
Yeah.
And then you wait for the sound guy to ask you for something.
Sure.
And you keep eye contact with them. And you know, and as soon as they go, some of them won't even say nothing, just point at you. You know what I mean? It's like, what do you want, fucker? You want mic? Check. You know, anyway, we're ready all the time. There's not somebody over there like practicing the intro to some Metallica song or something.
Yeah, because that's annoying as fuck.
Dude, if that happened to Drop, Jerry Smith would never do that. You know what I mean? He knows too.
I'm trying to imagine.
The most you'd hear out of his amp is doom, doom, and done. Just making sure it works. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to imagine Jerry Smith like playing Jump in the Fire super fucking loud.
Doing the windmill with his hair
By himself.
Yeah. You know, and Terry knew too. Terry would just get it set up to where he could, and he might do like one like fill or something to kind of know where everything's at, and then he'll just muffle everything, and everything's real quiet.
Right.
And it's almost weird because it's like we're just standing there real quiet, like good little boys, you know.
Yep.
And the sound guy's like snare, and then it changes.
Right.
Cry. And you know, if they give us that.
Right.
Anyway, so you know that, you know, you get up there, get your job done, and when you're done, you better get your shit off the stage quick because they're you know what I mean? So I understood all that.
I don't know. It's sort of I think it's kind of one of those things that's you know, almost like a sacred ritual of rock and roll, though. You know what I mean? That during that time, that's the time when you're really meditating on the energy of what's about to come. You know what I mean? Like there's I think a lot of people, including myself in history, that's a time where I might just crumble. You know what I mean? My shit just might fucking fall apart. But I think that's a better way of handling it, instead of being all noodly and nervous.
But I didn't have this experience with you, but a lot of times the sound guys, that if they're coming with the band and they're just running the system that's there, them guys love every opportunity to be above the opening bands and treat them like shit.
Right.
Because now they get to be in a position of power because they've been yelled at all day about, hey, go get me a beer. Go get us a donut. Hey, Bubba, go get us something. Shut up. He's the low man.
The humper boy.
In that situation a lot of times. So then they get the opening band and they're like, snare. Come on, hit you guys ready? You ready?
Yep,
you know what I mean?
They treat you like shit. Before,
Like, don't touch that mic. You know what I mean? It's like they get real like that with you. Yeah. But I just remember like Brett Michaels, when we played in front of him, they gave us I remember the sound guy going, okay, they're done sound checking. You guys have 3 channels. What do you want to use on them?
I think I kind of went to bat a little bit for you guys on that one.
Did you?
I actually,
well, this was at QC Live.
Oh, not that. Okay,
several years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was literally like three channels they gave us, and I was like, okay. You know what I said? You know what I said? Kick, snare, and vocal. My lead vocal.
Yeah.
And because I want the drums to thump, and my amp's loud enough. You know what I mean? I just crank the fuck out of my amps.
Yep.
And I've always got, my brain was like, done. We got it.
Yeah.
We need 3. Done. We can do it. We pull off this show with 3 inputs, and people in the audience don't even know.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't even know.
And we tell rock and roll.
You guys sound a killer, man. And I was like, we had 3 channels. He literally had a mic on his cowbell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I mean, they were using everything. The drum kit had 4 overheads,
right.
And the cowboy. Every drum had its own. It wasn't.
Every cymbal had its own bandana.
Headliner band engineers are ridiculous about that shit.
Right.
There's 2 or 3 mics on the snare. There's 2 or 3 mics in the kick drum. There's a cowbell mic. There's a ride mic, and there's it's. And
I get it, man. He's Brett Michaels. We were nobody. I get that. At the same time, it's like
circumstance, dude.
It's redundancy. It's redundancy, and it's a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
I mean,
the equivalent in the recording studio would be the large format console. I mean, it's the you don't necessarily need to have the thing, but there's something that is psychologically effective about seeing it. And I think that for people that are doing the big rock shows, they love that. It's like having a wall of Marshall stacks behind you. And they don't have any speakers in them,
right?
But they're there, and they look like
and
amps.
They'll make you feel better.
Yeah, they make you feel better. They make the audience feel better.
Rock. That's why I prefer doing
we're ready to rock.
That's why I prefer doing the festivals, to be honest with you, because everybody gets a fair shot. Everybody's got their same 30 minutes or an hour to set up and get their shit together and get pumped and get their sound check done, and the other bands doing their thing. We do a lot of 2-stage festivals to where it just flip flops. So literally, this band will be rocking out, and everybody be concentrating on them. We'll be over here just hooking up microphones and getting it all going and happy and everything.
Got time.
Yeah, everybody's got a good fair chance. Because I've worked with you a couple times doing shows where you guys have opened for big headliners, and you end up getting screwed as an opener.
A lot of times.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, for the Night Ranger show, for instance,
we got fucked on that. You would think
it could have been worse.
Yeah, you would think that. Our band Dive Bomb got to open that show, and in my mind, I'm like, I can't wait. Finally, I'm in a band that I just sing. I'm gonna live out my Sebastian Bach dream. I'm gonna run up and down that stage and have this whole huge stage.
You get this 4x8
and I get to sing to an arena, and I get there and find out that their fire line is like halfway up stage anyway. Yeah. So there's half the stage is cut off right now from Night Ranger, and they still got to get Firehouse in front of that. Yeah. And then they still have to get I can't remember. It was. The Brandon Gibb show.
Not.
What were they called? It was Krabby, Brittingham. I forgot what they were called too.
Cheap Thrill.
That's so they still had to get Cheap Thrill in front of them as well. Yeah. And then our sorry asses had to play in front of that. So
and Brian literally got a 4x8 deck with 2 monitors already on it.
Oh shit!
And he was all like the whole time.
No, I had to fight for that. They had to move the actual fence back in the front.
My boss actually went to bat for that because they were going to cut you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck that, dude. I mean, you're on the bill. Fucking
Yeah.
Opportunity and come on, dude.
Scott Mullen wouldn't have let that happen.
No.
He was all over that shit.
Yeah.
And he went back and he was like, "This is bullshit. They should just move their shit back."
And the shitter of the whole thing.
He went back and told Night Ranger to move their fire line back. And you know what? He came back going, "They're not gonna move
They
it."
can move it.
No, and they fucking didn't. And what was really bad about it is that they had an equal amount behind the stage.
Yeah.
And they're not the first band I've seen do that either.
Right.
I was doing a show about a year and a half ago for Jackal down at Three Sisters Park where they have summer camp.
Right.
And this huge stage. I mean, this thing is fucking enormous. It's got to be like 50 by 40 or something. Just enormous. And they've got their shit in like the first 16 feet. And every band before them has got to play in this 16 feet.
Jesus.
And there's like just, it's empty space behind them. And it's like, you arrogant fucks. I mean, ugh.
Or put your shit on rollers and roll it up if you're
I
fucking.
couldn't even in good conscience do that. I mean, even for entertainment value. I mean, roll your shit on set cards.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly. Something, man.
Well, see, I noticed that about the iWireless. They're pretty set up there because we've played there with Drop Hammer too, and it was Rat, Sebastian Bach, and Dokken or whatever.
Jealous.
But I noticed it, and Lita Ford. So you had 4 bands after us, right? So Drop Hammer played their 15-minute set,
Right.
You know what I mean? And then to Nobody, the Chair Warehouse I've talked about.
Yeah.
But then I noticed that the other bands, this is really cool. They have these. They put the drums up, but they're on a movable. It's like on a rotation. So the drum, they wheel in whatever drummer's playing at that time,
Yeah.
and then when he's done, they push that back, and then this other drum set comes
right
up that's
out.
already mic'd, already ready to go.
It's awesome.
You know what I mean? That I was like, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Fucking show business.
That
right
is show
there.
business
Yeah.
right there. Exactly.
And
That's
you
quick
saw how
change,
that
man.
machine worked, because I was thinking, damn, there's 4. How are they going to get 4 setups? Because they're all going to want to be sound checked and ready to go by the time we get our shit on stage.
It's a lot more possible nowadays with digital mixing. I mean, it makes it so that with a single board and just multiple interfaces that are on the stage connected via, Cat 5 cable and things like this, even wireless with some stuff nowadays, you can have essentially multiple snakes on stage that are all feeding the same board, and then you just flip different scenes on the board. I mean,
there you go.
And it's all the effects are there, all the dynamics processing.
When Drop Hammer did that gig, that was super cool. They still made us set the drums up on the ground. We didn't get a riser,
Right.
But still, they were using all the risers. Otherwise, they'd have gave us one, and they just wheeled our drums out. You know,
Yeah,
exactly.
So I mean,
That's awesome, dude.
We were like, "Fuck!" We're just glad that I looked at the stage. It was like we have the entire stage.
Nice.
And I'm like, we're a 3-piece band. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like this, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? I remember doing the sound check. I'm like, this is just gonna be silly. I don't even care if anybody comes in here. I just want to play in this room and hear the PA. You know what I mean? It's such a great experience to play. It's a totally different fucking ball game. And I didn't make it in this business, and I don't know anything, but I do know that I got to do that for a total of 40 minutes of my life, playing in an arena. And feel what that's like, even though nobody was there. But still, I realized that's a different animal than playing at Rascals. I'm not saying that it's worse or better. It's just a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Totally different.
I think it speaks to why, during the sort of birth of stadium rock, why the studio albums from some of these bands that were huge stadium bands, huge live bands people like to go see, they just didn't translate that well into the studio albums. But then people would go out and see them live and were like, greatest band I've ever seen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It is. It's because it's a different creature. I think The Who was that way. I think Grand Funk Railroad was probably big time that way.
Big time.
That, that the studio albums, you listen to them, you're like, meh. It's all right, but you listen to live albums and you're like,
There's a lot of bands
these
out there
are
like
big
that.
room bands, big room.
I wish I'd have wrote this down, but I was watching a documentary on Netflix about, it says, who the fuck is so-and-so? Who he is he's a concert promoter. He started out with like the Stones and all this. Anyway, they got up to now where he's doing Lady Gaga, and what he does is he orchestrates like global tours. I mean, when people come to him like, we want to tour and we want to go global. And he's the one that takes care of every venue. Everything is taken care of all down the road. And the artist is taken care of. Everything runs smooth like butter.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He's the man.
Boy.
He's the one that everybody goes to.
He made the Stones, dude.
And you would
He made the
you would
Stones.
not even realize all the shit.
What is this documentary? Because I want to say more about it, and I don't want to not know it.
While you're finding that, let me make a
Google
little
it.
comment about what kind of sets me apart from other production people, and that is, throughout my career, I've met a ton of just absolute pricks that it's as far as production people, it's like, why are you even on the road? Because you seem so pissed off,
bitter. They just don't want to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen people come in and dudes have been working for like 16 hours putting a stage and all that together, and the band guy comes in and goes, "What the fuck is this?" And you just, you want to melt in a little pile on the ground and be like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
We worked our asses off. And I tell you what, in my experience,
Are you talking about the bands or the production
I'm talking
crew?
about the production people for the bands.
Oh, like
the bands are usually really nice.
Yeah.
You mean the guys that are setting their gear up?
The guys
stagehands?
the guys that come in that we set up for.
Okay.
They come in on a bus and they're like the band sound guy.
All right.
And they've got 45 minutes of fucking work to do. And then their band goes on, and then they got another 30 minutes of tearing down, and then they get back on the bus. But they're total assholes the whole time.
Yeah. Why?
And it's like, it brings me back to the Henry Rollins adage of, you should be nice to the sound guy because he's been here all fucking day. He's going to be here after you.
Oh, yeah.
And he should be probably making the money that you did.
Yeah.
Because they did the real work.
Yeah. And by the way, he knows the caterer locally here.
Right.
And he's going to talk to the caterer.
Yeah.
And the caterer is going to fuck your food up next time you're in town, jackass. So go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
By the way, it's who the F is Arthur Fogel?
Arthur
Fogel is the guy.
That's what it is.
He's the world's biggest concert promoter.
Yeah, if you're interested in seeing kind of like some nuts and bolts stuff of behind the scenes of how, because I cut myself off there, I'm sorry, of how big concerts and worldwide tours happen.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't just like, okay, where do you want to play next, guys? It's all mapped out a year in advance, you know what I mean? Hotels, because what's so cool about it is he talks about how, we gotta have 14 floors of hotels in each town. We're talking about bands like U2.
Yeah,
right.
He did the Police reunion in 2008, I think, and that was like the biggest grossing tour of all time.
Oh yeah, they made shitloads of money.
Yeah, and they got footage of that, and I'm just thinking, God damn, these are the big bands. Now he's doing Lady Gaga and all this. And he said how music went from you start in the little clubs, you build. They have an A&R guy at the label that builds your brand, and slowly, and then you build up, and then pretty soon you're playing stadiums.
Right.
And he said Lady Gaga, it was like overnight because she was an internet thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he said we could take this global right now. She didn't have to play like a club ever.
No.
You know what I mean?
She said, I thought this was really interesting in this documentary.
Yeah.
She said that she spent all the money that she made off of her first album
$4 million
to put together this Broadway show that in her mind was done entirely to impress Arthur Fogel.
Yep.
Wow.
To try to get his attention,
To try to get his attention, and it worked.
Wow.
And she landed that deal with him, and then she was unstoppable.
Yeah.
She said, I don't want a house, I don't want a car, I just want to be on stage.
Yeah, the only thing I really read about her was how she really spent her time developing her brand.
Yeah.
Here's
that's
what
how
I
they
took.
do it.
Here's what I took from it. The whole time I was watching it, I was just kind of feeling this feeling. That world, I'll never know unless I pay $120 to go see one, because you're watching these artists that are just, they get in a room and they go, we're going to do a worldwide tour, and they like, I don't want to play on a normal stage.
Right.
I want to express what we're trying to say, U2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's U2.
Yeah.
We want to custom build this $40 million stage.
Yeah. 3 of them.
Yeah, 3 of them, so that they could be in
so
3
they
different
could-
cities
yeah.
at a time.
Yeah.
Because the logistics of that.
Right. And God, you're watching dudes on fork trucks every
Yeah.
day, and I mean, this thing was huge.
Yeah. Cranes
with LED
Yeah.
screens all around it and shit, and
Unbelievable,
And all
man.
all he did was walk up. Can I just stand on the stage and see if I like it? And he goes up there, and they're done. And he just plays through a Telecaster for a second.
I thought he's a drummer.
No, that was Edge that went up there and was
it
like,
was Edge. That's
he's
what it was.
Oh, I could get used to this or something like that. And I'm like, hell yeah, you can, asshole. Because all you gotta do is go up there, play for an hour and a half, and then go eat catering, get a shower and a blowjob next town,
probably have
or
to
whatever
put
he
my penis
does.
in a
Trying to not
wheelchair.
get found by all these screaming bands.
Right. Try to hide from that massive flesh that just screamed at you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's huge. And
Wow.
I guess what I'm saying is there's a stark separation between what my experience with music is and playing live and what it would be like to be in something like that.
Yeah,
Right.
big room.
Yeah, and then what happened? Bono hurt his back.
Yeah, and they had to end up canceling.
They had to move the tour off like 6 months. So that's a gazillion calls and a gazillion,
Yep.
Yeah, I was blown away by that. That's
Yeah.
a cool documentary to watch. I think it's
The dude was like weirdly
educational.
unfazed by it.
Yep.
To him, it was just one more
day in the
step.
office.
One more step.
He said
You
it was
know what I mean?
another day in the office.
day in the
Just
office.
I'm going to be a little busier today.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, there's people there sometimes 2-3 days before just starting to get stuff together.
That's fucking wild.
And
U2
it's
stage is as
huge.
big as the iWireless.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
The whole that thing is
The
huge. It wouldn't
stage's
fit in there.
enormous. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, the real estate
They
that
built
takes-
that
No,
to
they
play
can't build it.
stadiums.
It's an outdoor stage for
Right.
stadium.
But sometimes I wonder how bars around here survive if they're going to be like a live venue. I don't see the numbers anymore.
No, but
That used to,
you can make a fuck of a lot of money selling booze. I mean, I
You
think
can.
that's really
And there's dudes out there doing it. I
Yeah.
mean, in every market I, witness, around here it sucked because, like since the 70s, you had this big market going on where, all the factories were there. Everybody from 17 to 21 was working out of a factory straight out of high school.
Yeah.
And when they get done, they go out and party at these bars to where
and they have money.
Yeah.
Good money.
Good money.
Yeah.
And yeah, once the 80s rolled around, it was,
It's over,
4 or
dude.
5 factories are gone, and there's all those jobs. And I stopped. I mean, I was at the age where I was a little young, but I heard it on the radio
Yeah.
constantly. This band was playing here.
Yeah, Beethoven's
Wednesday
Stage
through
West.
Saturday, or
Yeah.
whatever. And then you just stopped hearing about
Oh,
that.
that
And then
stopped, yeah.
there was like a lull for a while, but I think ever since, people have just been a lot more inventive. And after the big karaoke craze, people started to warm up a little more to it. They aren't getting the pay that we used to, because I remember bands making $1,200 a weekend, no problem, at a lounge somewhere
Yeah.
with a cheap shitty light show and a
Yeah.
cheap shitty PA and shitloads of people every single night. And there's been people on this radio show that have been around long enough that got to experience all that, and it's got to be weird, even weirder for them, because I was really more on the tail end of that.
Yeah.
And
We're like cleaning up after a party we were too young to be at.
exactly.
Yeah. Were you ever like a dreamer? Like, it's hard to get into this subject because it's really kind of personal, but were you kind of the same kind of person as I was, which was like, yeah, I know that it's hard to do, but it could happen to me, and I'm going to do everything that I can to get there, man. And
Oh,
really
yeah.
went after it and wanted to be the rock star.
Oh yeah.
And felt like it's my destiny, man. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to do this.
I drank that Kool-Aid real.
you?
Oh yeah, gallons. I was gonna be rock star, and that's all I wanted to do. That's all I gave a shit about ever since Kiss Alive 2, 5 years old.
Thank
Boom.
you. Yes.
Kiss Live at Cobo Hall on HBO.
Yeah.
The first time I saw it, Gene Simmons scared the living shit out of me, and that's what I wanted to do for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
shit.
I had Kiss shirt. I was Gene Simmons 4 years in a row for Halloween.
But would you have been willing in 1973 to turn down a record label with Atlantic Records or Elektra or whatever it was
Right.
because you wanted to stick with your idea of putting kabuki makeup and dressing in black
Right.
spandex and shit and being called Kiss? When they were signed as Wicked Lester to another label, and they were like, if you get rid of that makeup thing, we'll sign you. And and they were like, nope, we're going to stick with our plans of being this weird band that everybody just kind of stares at first.
Well, they
imagine.
knew.
That's what I'm trying. I'm sorry to get on the Kiss
Yeah.
subject here, but
No.
be
Not
the
at all.
guys backstage, like, okay, we're playing for the first time here. We're playing at the Daisy or wherever the fuck they're. This is going to be crazy. They ran a limo so that they look famous,
Right.
They're broke as shit, and they had already set their stuff up. They had They already had dummy Marshall cabs built
right.
that they
Yeah.
made. They knew what to do.
Yeah.
They wanted to look big.
Like big,
They knew
yeah.
that you had to look big
Big.
for what they were doing.
Sure.
And the way that they came. I mean, have the guts. I know that everybody looks at bands like Cheese Pizza around here.
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Kiss, because who had the guts when they did that?
Right.
Were Lee to come out in a freaking T-bar and a
Sure.
skirt and his balls hanging out and high heels,
Yeah.
and not giving a shit and singing. It was just, that hit me like a wall too. I was like, fuck. I know I couldn't do it because I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be
Sure.
the guy that would come up with that idea first of all, and then to find other dudes that are willing to go down that road with
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you didn't know you were going to be having places packed and making.
Sure, and I remember
Shitloads
them
of
when they were
money.
doing like Wednesday night college night at
Yeah.
fucking Mr. Rogers
Yeah.
in front of like nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the first, I don't know, 8, 10
You
shows.
fight
or
through that
something.
shit, man. See, I respect that stuff, you know?
Exactly. I mean, but Kiss is a fine example. It's, you stick to your guns, you have a business model
Mm-hmm.
as well as a creative aspect, and
That's what it was.
It's a lottery, but
and they got
won.
to be a different persona. They didn't have to be Paul Stanley and Gene
Right.
Simmons, or I'm sorry, Stanley Eisen and Chaim Witz.
Right.
You didn't have to be them guys.
Right.
You got to be the Demon and the Star
Exactly.
Child, and that persona took over.
They could be. They could live out their rock and roll persona, and I think everybody in the audience wants to live out their rock and roll persona.
Absolutely.
I think that ruined a lot of people,
Yeah, it
Eric,
did.
because
It's theater, though.
I'm there with
Yeah.
you, brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And once we went chasing that took us way off a track of what really works in music,
Exactly.
which is the songs.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? You're
Yeah.
worried about being this Kiss thing. I'm trying to be larger than life,
I
but
want fire coming out of my fucking guitar.
Exactly,
when I'm done
dude.
doing a solo.
I didn't know what the market
Yes.
was doing. If I'd have paid attention to the market
Yeah.
and looked at it as a business plan, I know that business plan don't work with the way the market's working.
Sure.
At that time, the market was working, and we want people just like us to sing to us.
Yeah.
We want to be able to be that guy. We want
Yeah.
to be on the same level with them.
Totally.
Right.
Right? And before that, it was, I want somebody up there that I totally look up to like a god. It was such a, it was like going to church. It was like, God.
The disappearance of the stage. I
Exactly.
mean,
Right.
the whole concept of crowd surfing and all of this kind of stuff. That stages got lower to the point where bands were playing on the floor with the audience standing up around them, and hardcore and punk kind of ideology, live show ideology, had entered the popular consciousness. People didn't want elevated rock stars. You're totally right about that.
They wanted to
didn't
be
want
part
that.
of it at
They
that
wanted to
point.
be part of it. They
And I was carrying that torch, man.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, we're all getting vinyl pants. We're fucking going to be putting eyeliner on. We're going to dye our
Right.
hair all jet black. Except
Right.
for Jerry wouldn't do that. I was like, if Gene Simmons would have done it,
Yeah, right.
We were kind of, we were all for the cause. You know
What's
what I mean?
funny is Jerry Smith is now, I think, rocking the vinyl pants.
Yeah.
Is
And
he?
cheese pizza.
Yeah, I
Oh, well,
think-
purple
yeah.
pants. They're
Okay,
purple
pants.
purple
Close
velvet
enough.
pants, yeah.
Close
Yeah.
enough.
But I mean, I just thought to myself,
Making that money.
Yeah.
I just thought after a certain point, I was like, these dudes look like rapists. From a certain standpoint, even if your aesthetic is dude that walked in off the street, it's still an aesthetic. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
a choice that you make. I mean, you can't divorce yourself entirely from the concept of theater. You're still standing in front of a group of people and setting yourself apart and saying, "Hey, look at me."
Okay.
I'm wearing the jean jacket.
This brings me to my
You
next
know?
my next segment that I stole straight off of Monday Night Football, and I just made it up. Not only did I just make it up, but I stole it from Monday Night Football.
Nice.
It's "Come On Man." I'm gonna come on, man, a band. I go, because here's what I do on Facebook, man.
I thought he was gonna say, "Come on,
Which
man."
one of my bands is it going to be?
No, what I do on Facebook is I pretty much don't put my foot in the water at all. I just
Right.
kind of watch the puddle ripple in
kinda
different
that way,
ways,
too.
and I
Right.
kind of search, and there's interesting shit, and I want to keep up with what my buddies are doing and stuff. And but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to have too much of an appearance, because then you get people that say stupid shit back to you, and then you got to deal with that. Anyway, so I just kind of stay out of the picture, but. As I'm looking through, bands play on the weekends, then you'll see their pictures come up, and you'll see big groupings of people that either videoed it with their phone or took pictures here and there, and you get to kind of vicariously see each band's
Yeah.
weekend, how it went, right?
Right.
And of course, my eyes go right to the crowd. I want to see who's pulling.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whoa, I didn't know Flashpoint could put that many people in a bar. That's kind of cool.
Right.
Or, wow, there's nobody there. That's kind of sucks. Well, that kind of thing. Anyway, I happened to come across 1152's thing that they just did recently at a benefit, right?
Okay.
And I saw the videos for it, and it's stomping band, man.
Yeah.
Killer band. Killer fucking
Amazing.
band. And if anything, you see Dusty up there doing his thing, I got to bust Freeberg's balls right now, because come on, man.
Come
You
on,
don't-
man.
come on.
First of all,
man.
if I was going to write a book that was going to give you a list of the top 10 things not to do in a rock band,
Stare at your fingers.
that and you never wear a striped fucking shirt. Never wear a striped polo shirt on stage, ever. Mike, come on, man.
He looks like he just got out of Calculus 102.
Yeah.
Travis, you're looking at me like I'm an asshole.
No. I was just gonna say, I was just wishing it was a salmon-colored photo. Salmon.
With a little,
I get
With a little alligator.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, man. He's a badass no matter what he wears.
man.
But if you're gonna go to Brian Miner's Rock 101, that would have been day one.
Yeah.
It's like, take that shirt off. First
Yeah.
of all, I don't want you to put on like a loose button up, like 80s
Where's
David
the-
Coverdale shirt or anything.
Right.
But
Where's the
how
Iron
about just a
Lion?
black T-shirt? Iron Lion shirt.
Where's
that
the
would
Iron
be
Lion
cooler.
tee? That's the one he always wears. That's like his lucky shirt, man.
Right, because my perspective from the audience, it don't matter how I look up at the striped shirt and I go, oh, he must have just got off work at Computer Revolution or whatever.
Dude, look, man, I'm sorry you had to come right, after your fucking Chem 101 final.
Yeah, it just what it does is it breaks the illusion. It kind of is a wrinkle in the illusion. There's people there seeing 1152 that had never seen them before, and they might be. They want to. If you could assault them with everything that you got every time,
right.
and that means maybe an Iron Lion shirt instead of a normal,
Sure.
In Dockers or whatever. I don't know. I think he was wearing jeans at least, but but what I'm saying is like they seem to just be like, oh, we'll wear whatever the fuck we want. We don't care.
And that really seems to be a common problem with a lot of bands is really making theater out of it, making entertainment out of it.
Yeah.
So many bands go up there and they do albums like this too, to where they come in and they go, okay, we got 13 songs. We're going to record these 13 songs.
Wow.
And it's 13 of the same sounding thing.
Yeah.
There's no theater to it.
Right.
There's no sonic theater to it. When you see it live, there's nothing to look at.
Not the arc, man.
Here,
The arc.
here.
Beginning, middle, and end.
Every time, I meet a rock star or something. Say, like, Mars Electric, Matt Finn's band did a reunion at Rascals,
right?
And the singer for that band, Jacob, is singing for Adler's Appetite now.
Oh wow!
And he's writes songs. He's kind of a player in the scene up there. And I can't remember. I think. Anyway, he knows them people. Slash played with him. He's
right.
like, anyway.
Oh shit!
He's a pretty cool guitar player too, man.
He's a really good guitar player.
Cool guitar player.
But what I noticed that was so, stand out to me and reminded me just how Midwest wannabe I look. Because I thought I looked cool because I just dyed my hair and fucking, I had looking cool. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be cool. Got my sleeves rolled up, showing my tattoos and shit.
But this dude's got 19 bracelets.
This kid had a foot like the skinny jeans on. This dude weighs probably 120 pounds. And he's 6'3".
Soaking wet.
You know what I mean? And you could just look at him and there's like dark eyeliner around his pale white face and this jet black hair with bandana teased up perfect right here.
Right.
The bandana. I'm not gaying out on him. I'm just saying this dude had his look together.
Yeah,
that's
works.
his brand. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, saying that is technically gaying out. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows.
All I said was that it works.
But I'm just saying, that dude ain't like painting his spare bedroom looking like that.
No,
you know what I mean?
right.
He looks like a normal dude sometimes, and you want to see what that guy looks like too. But
right.
But
or
these
maybe you
dudes,
don't.
that's their brand, right? They can't leave the house fucking like in sweatpants and their hair tied back and glasses on. They're not gonna do that.
Well, they might get their Starbucks that way, but they're going right the fuck back home.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a stark difference. I mean, I remember standing next to Nikki Sixx and Vince Neil at the Motley Crue thing that Drop Hammer opened for, and I remember coming off stage and Z-Man was talking to Nikki Sixx, like doing a live remote from right there, and I remember walking around the corner and I was like, that's fucking Nikki Sixx.
Yeah.
And it just hit me. I was like, 'cause I saw him earlier too, but we didn't approach him. We didn't want to.
You don't want to just be
bother their tent over there.
Right.
So anyway, but I came around the corner and Z-Man called me into the interview then. He was like, Brian Miner from Drop Hammer just got off stage like anybody gives a fuck.
And you're like,
but he wanted to talk to me with Nikki Sixx.
Wow.
And I was like, I just remember going, I didn't want to say anything because I was like, that's Nikki Sixx. That's all I kept saying is, that's Nikki Sixx. Talk to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And I'm looking at this guy that had, like, we have skin with pores and stuff. This guy had, like, what looked like leather all over his face.
Sure.
Yeah.
Super dark, like almost tattooed on eyeliner that, black everything. Everything on his face is black. It's like almost like a caricature.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You're looking at this thing and it's like, and you're looking at his boots and he's got like 12-inch fucking heels on there, leather with it come up, and he's got these pants that are handmade fucking.
Yeah.
You're like, that's fucking badass.
I don't have the look at all.
Basically,
I'm Midwest.
Like his tattoo started like at the end of his cuticle right here and fucking shot and it was everywhere and like ended right here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And this tattoo says, sorry, the position's been filled.
Yeah. It says never have to get a job.
Exactly.
Right.
Because he ain't getting no regular job, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's how people get so starstruck because, I mean, that's so foreign to us to see, even as progressive as times are now.
We'd make fun of it. If there was a band around here, because I know because we've dealt with it, dude.
Right.
We were out there trying to cake on the eyeliner and have long hair and look like we were from a city.
Yeah.
Other than Clinton.
But
you know
when you
what I
were
mean?
doing that, you didn't leave the house before 7:30 either.
Right,
You
yeah.
were sleeping until 6, and then you did all the makeup and everything.
Yeah,
and
we
then
brought
7:30
our
rolled around.
bags full of our stage effects.
Right,
You know what I'm
right,
saying? We
yeah.
were ready to put on, and we be in the dressing room like, I don't know, like try,
Yeah,
iron
right.
our shit up, and everybody else is like, oh, they think they're the shit, and they, immediately this area wants to pull you down again if you
Yep,
want to try
yeah.
to step out like that.
Right.
And I got made fun of, and that's fine. Everybody can
Sure.
suck my dick because that was my path. That was my shit. I was gonna do that,
theater,
and
dude.
that's the road I took, and I'm kind of proud of the fact that I took a road that was, you know, at least we're trying to do like this show thing.
Yeah,
we're trying
sure.
to look like
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I get that.
You're not
branding,
going
I
up there
guess.
playing 13 songs. You're playing
I
a
get that.
show.
Yeah, and
I
you
get
realize
that.
you never really had a chance at all, ever. You know what I mean?
I think it should be noted, though, that bands make theatrical choices unwittingly.
Sure.
I mean, bands make choices that really do affect the theater of their performance for reasons that don't have to do in their minds with how things end up looking.
Well, yeah.
But it can end up being quite a visual thing, you know, like it's like certain drummers, just as an example, you know, they're exciting drummers, right? You know, and it isn't because they're like necessarily twirling their sticks or any given thing you could point at. Just when you watch them, you're just captivated by the way they do it for some reason.
You know what I
and
might
they don't gotta
do?
you know.
You know, I might do this. I'm going to try to find a hairdresser that would be willing to, live on the show, turn me into a 80s wannabe has-been and make me look like a modern motherfucking rock and roller.
Yeah.
A modern rock and roller.
Rock and roller. What do you got to do to do that? You got to dye the hair fucking some other color. And you got to cut it like weird and have it doing weird shit, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you gotta have aviator goggles.
Aviator goggles. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can pull that one off, but definitely some of these, man, and
Yeah.
maybe a couple like wristbands that have stars on
Don't
them.
put 'em on.
Oh, you
Oh,
got
Like a couple
a lot of
wristbands.
bracelets.
Like a lot of bracelets.
And then you got to do your homage to the hippie. You got to stink like patchouli. Yes. Dude, I met John Karabi
And
last
clove
year, the year
cigarettes.
before.
Oh,
and
man,
I
he
tell
was
you what,
awesome.
he smelled, if I closed my eyes, I'd be like, dude, Dustin Cobb's here.
Yeah, right.
You know, it smelled like Hippieville there. And I'm like, what the fuck? Dude, rocker, you know, hairband rocker. I'm like,
Yeah.
that dude's cool. And
I
tell
think
you
John
what-
Karabi and Rob Zombie should do a fight to the death.
Oh, God.
I'd pay to see that.
I would pay to see that.
Yes, I did put some aviators on. The transition has
Fucker's
begun,
on.
man. The transition's begun. I'm pretty sure I'd have to get rid of this. I'd have to. What's the modern thing to wear now for a shirt?
Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy.
Ed Hardy,
Is that the hat?
right.
Do I have to wear the hat crooked too?
Well, it depends on if you have chest hair or not. If you
Okay.
have chest hair, you can wear whatever
could-
the fuck you want.
But could I be
With
like
buttons.
a rock guy and get away with the hat crooked?
The beret?
Like, yeah, with a flat bill that, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, where
that
are we
thing.
at on beards and facial hair?
Yeah, do I have to grow a beard too?
Yeah.
No, just this thing right there.
Yeah, you
This is
gotta
cool.
have
I got
that.
dyed black though,
Tico
right?
Torres.
Yeah, right. Little
Yeah.
flavor saver.
Right.
Soul patch.
Nice. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
My wife
any
hates it.
aspect of theater, it just makes the show more interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
even like with the one night standards, we got our stupid getup, but people like to watch us in 90-degree heat, sweat our fucking balls off at
Yeah.
12:30,
Absolutely.
hungover from the night before, and see if they can still hold up for 2 hours without having heart attacks. It's part of theater.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can't.
It works.
And to be honest
It
with you,
works.
though, in my band Dive Bomb now, the only one that really does theater is Ed.
Oh,
the rest
boy.
of us really kind of just dress how we would dress if we were going out with our old ladies. You know what I mean?
Right.
We want to look rocking, but we're not going over the top crazy about
Right.
it. You know, we don't have like neon bandanas tied around our arms and shit.
I
Like,
don't know. I mean, you and Hazen got the whole like
We just look-
the whole flowing,
Right.
hair thing. And of course, he's all like tattooed and everything. So I mean, he just screams rock and roll.
He looks
Absolutely.
cool as fuck.
He
does look cool as
can't go
fuck.
nowhere without being like, that dude is a fucking rock guitar player
Yep,
right
right
there.
there.
Yep.
And you're the
Yep.
same. It's like, yep, that dude.
I don't know.
I bet he fucking,
No.
I mean,
If you saw me during the day, you would be like, "That's the carpet cleaner."
I see you on Facebook pictures. Yeah, I see you on Facebook pictures, and you're all like, got
Oh,
the
yeah.
hair all back and got
Yep.
the hat down.
Yeah, because I can't
Hanging out
stand
with
it.
your kids and shit. And
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
can't
oh,
stand
he's
it.
such a family guy. And he's like, yeah, but I'm ready to rock.
But I do feel as though when I do play in that band, it's so close to home to me to sing that kind of stuff and to look that kind of way, because that's really who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not being somebody I'm not.
Not at all.
You know, I feel like that's me really that's me. That's how I am.
That's you getting to do what you've always
You can
wanted
tell
to.
when somebody's acting like they're a rocker.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would think that I'm just naturally doing what I think that I want to do.
And I think for the most part, our best artistic appeals that we make are when we're our favorite pretend versions of ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
They are in a certain way absolutely equal to the other pretend versions of ourselves, whether it's factory worker or carpet cleaner or whatever. They're just as made up as any fucking thing.
right.
So why not go for the ones that are your favorite ones?
Well, this one you get this extra level of power because you almost get to be you, but you get to be the free-minded
That's
you
what I mean.
because
It's a superhero you.
You do things. You I could say things on stage that if I said at home on the couch would have a completely different effect.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
But on stage, all of a sudden it's like, man, I can't believe you just said that. These guys are awesome. I wish I could fucking say shit like that. You know what I mean?
They
It's like,
think I'm funny.
yeah,
Shit, dude, this is awesome.
The end of the
It's like
song.
get addictive.
yeah.
end of
Then
the
you get a
song?
few laughs, then you think you're freaking
Yeah, everybody's
Eddie
a
Murphy and
fucking-
shit.
Hey, that was funny, wasn't I?
Go get my red leather pants, man. I'm ready to rock this shit.
Yeah. They ended the song. He said the word cunt, and then they started the next song.
Right.
What a fucking pimp.
When one of the first stories that'll come up with my drummer from Drop Hammer, if we ever get to, around each other and we reminisce, he'll be like, the one story that always comes up within like the first two stories would be the night that I got us fired from WD's in Galesburg for saying clit too much.
Oh.
So I said it, and then the guy, the owner on one of the breaks was like, dude, don't ever
Slow
say that on
down.
stage again, man. You know that the
Wow.
governor's wife was having dinner in the back here, and and I'm in rock and roll mode, like
Right.
got a couple yellow jackets, them pills that you used to buy at the gas station,
Right,
like this, drinking tequila already
You're ready
before
to
lunch.
go.
Vinyl pants, eyeliner, like, "Wow!"
And you were like,
and
why?
people
Does
are
she
still
have a-
eating their burgers and shit at the tables,
she have a
and we were ready to
non-functional
go.
clit?
Yeah, we were ready to fucking stomp that place down.
How many gigs have you done that are like that too, to where you go and you're gonna rock out for the night, 10 to 2, and you show up at 7 with your PA and shit, and dinner is like in full
Yeah,
session.
right.
Oh, God,
And you're
that's
trying
a
to check a PA,
nightmare.
yeah.
You're singing your
Nightmare
heart
gigs.
out, and they're like eating sausage,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
dipping it
Could
in
you do your
fucking
sound check
ketchup.
kind of quietly, sir?
Yeah, that'll work out for everybody.
Yeah, no. Maybe no,
No.
nope.
No,
Yeah.
gonna happen.
definitely not.
I know and that was one of these restaurants. Okay, so the guy
man.
told me not to say clit. Okay, and so I decided then that I'm gonna do what I want. I thought it was funny, so I then started changing the words to every song we played for the rest of the night to accommodate the word clit. So
Wanna rock and roll your clit.
exactly.
Party on your
See,
clit.
and you'd have been doing it with me. You'd have been doing it with me. You'd have been doing it with me. You and I would have been in
Absolutely.
trouble.
Hell yeah, dude.
I just remember that night, we were shooting tequila and just like being a rock band. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
And actually, what we were doing was we were like kind of crying or lamenting our fucking failure of being rock stars and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
watching it all just kind of become a puddle
Yeah.
in front of us. So we were getting fucked up and having a good time.
Yeah.
You come to that realization like we're never gonna be here again.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, yeah.
And so
Well, what are you gonna do
Yeah.
if it already sucks and it's already not rock and roll? What's the rock and roll thing you can do? Which is just fucking burn it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Burn
Let's
that
do
fucker
this.
down.
Let's do
Yeah.
this because
Yeah.
there was 4 people that left there going, man, Drop Hammer don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
And
just
they went
do
to a
what they
bunch more
want,
shows and bought your CD too.
They don't give a clit.
All fucking 4 of them.
So I just remember the bar owner throwing the money at me like this and watching it in the air.
Shit.
And I was laid down next to the stage at that point because I'm telling you,
Faded.
it was bad.
Yeah.
We were faded. The drummer did this. Terry Hodges did this. I swear to God. We were doing shots of tequila, and I was like, they brought 2 of them. I was like, I can't do it. I set the other one down, and Terry's like, give me that. And he's standing on, he's got 1 foot up on the drum. He's standing on his drum set, like,
Yeah.
like this, like twirling stick, You know what I mean? In between
After the
songs,
gig.
at the gig, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, what's up? Talking into his headset, anyway. And he's like, give me that shot. And he clangs, throws it back, clang, throws the cup. He like starts to play the next song. Yeah, so you could figure.
Yeah.
And, the next day, Smith calls us and he's like, I need to talk to you, Brian. I was like, well, what? He goes, do you remember anything about last night at all? And he starts telling me what we did, and I'm like, oh no, really? We're
that.
fired? What did we do?
What we do? Well, let's just start with
Yeah. Clit.
load in.
Yeah.
Load in. Exactly.
Clit in.
Clit in.
So, so when we played at Rascals and you were doing sound for us, I immediately, what my job is get everybody set up on stage, make sure they do it quickly, and keep Ed from fucking practicing Metallica songs,
Right.
Because he's one of them, and you
He's
have to tell him,
a
shut up, Ed, stop it.
Don't do it, Ed.
All right, boss. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you'll hear it again. he'll play God of Thunder.
Sure.
Boom, 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 boom. We're trying to check a mic over here.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's one of them guys. But my job is to kind of go by the sound guy and kind of make sure that they're getting that kick drum thump.
Yep.
Because there's nothing more important than your kick drum thump and your snare pop. Okay. You don't want the guitars to sound like 10, but that's kind of that's got a lot of room.
You got to mix.
You got a lot of room for that to sound good or bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the kick and the snare have got to be moving air.
Yep.
And pleasing your ear for the snare.
And
right?
they got to pop.
Right.
Without
and pop,
hurting you.
Snap. Right.
Up.
And when Matt Finn brought in how big is that kick drum he's got? It's
like
a 48.
Something stupid. I mean, it's and
this tall.
he sits like a foot off the ground too. So I mean, it exacerbates. So as the sound guy, I'm like 2.5 feet up in the air, and still all I see is Matt Finn's head and sticks just flying in the air. And a huge kick drum. It's amazing to watch.
Funny.
Yeah.
That's theater in itself.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is just.
It's a 3-piece drum set. It's a kick. It's a kick, snare, one flat tom on a stand by itself, and a floor tom.
Awesome.
Yep.
I'm with it.
And the
dude.
guy sets it up in a way that like
you can't play it.
You can't play it unless every move you have is like totally theatrical.
Way out in front of you.
I mean,
you have to move.
Yeah.
I play drums on a couple songs on that kit, and that tom is literally like over there by your pop. You know what I mean? It's like that far away.
Yeah.
You have to reach out for his rack tom that's just flat on the stand right there. It's not angled like Metallica style it should be for amateur like me, but a flat almost. And his snare is angled away from him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's like old jazz stuff.
That's a knuckle breaker is what it is. You get me on there and it's like bloody knuckles immediately.
Sure.
Yeah.
lap playing.
Yep. And Hodges was like that too. He played flat drums too.
Flat drums, yeah.
So
there's a lot of great players play flat.
They play on the top of the drums.
Yeah.
I play from like this to
Right.
like this.
Right.
And real drummers play over the top of the drums.
Some real drummers do.
That style of drummer.
Yeah, right.
Exciting ones.
Exciting drummers.
Exactly.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
So
I think that actually lends a lot to the style of it.
Yeah.
Just having it like that. I mean, I love watching dude from Faith No More, and his drums are set up that way, and he has to.
Yeah.
But it's like part of his deal, and it's like you watch him play, and it's like, holy fuck, dude, how's that guy not having a heart attack?
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
He's like 50 some odd years old and just slaying it.
when you're mixing a band like ours and then you mix the next weekend like 1152, are there certain frequencies that you're aiming for in modern sounding music that isn't, you know what I mean? Like, where are you getting that? We all know what we're talking about. When Disturbed came out with that really big wall of sound and the whole like preciseness of the, you know what I mean?
I literally I take from it the way that people take from music to inspire them. If I got good guitar players that play a lot of the same thing at the same time, I'll pan them out stereo to make the sound just really huge, and try to make it to where if one dude's soloing, I dump it right back in the middle during that part of the mix, and try to do intelligent things like that. And really, it lends a lot to the band having good tone when they show up, and maintaining good tone and not getting too wasted, and
plus having well-conceived regular pop song structure makes it a lot easier as a mix engineer to know what's going to happen next in the song. If you're not, you don't have to have heard the band 1,000 times in order to be able to mix them if their songs are
you can kind of tell where they're going to end up with.
Here's the middle 8.
Well, I'm just saying, like a kick drum for a progressive band that's tuned to B or something like that, or like Lynn Allen, you're going to probably mix the kick drum with a little bit different of a low end, right?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I just, I try to make it just fit cohesively and not like recordings that I didn't like when I was younger, to where it sounded like the guitar player was in Nebraska and the drummer was in LA. You try to make it all sound like it's in the same room, because it can be impossible with the wrong kind of gear and the wrong idea going into it. Just trying to make PAs do what they can't do.
Dude, I mean, I've been involved in a situation where the kick drum mic, which is something that we've always struggled with historically to get good sounds out of, whether it's Sennheisers or fucking AKGs, and then the Beta 52 came out, and that changed a lot of stuff for us. But, I just remember being in a situation where they were using a Beta 52. It sounded really good through the PA system. Well, it failed. And the engineer ran to the front of the house, or, ran to the stage, and swapped the mic and came back. It sounded great. It sounded really good again. And I was like, what did you do? Were you able to fix it? He said, no, I just replaced it. Oh, you had another Beta 52 on hand, I say? He says, no, that's an SM57. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, what? It does happen that if you have this, that, or the other microphone, but your system that you're trying to drive does not have the physical capability to reproduce frequencies in that range, it's gonna sound like ass.
Yep.
There's just nothing you can do. And most of the PA systems that I've tried to run on, now he's run sound 8 million more times than I have, so I'm sure you can testify to this.
Oh, and I'm really fortunate. I mean, I'm not trying to product. I don't know.
Product place
too much. I didn't wear my Rex Road sound shirt, but I've been really fucking fortunate to work with a company that, I mean, the owner is a complete fucking sound geek and has been for 20 years. And I mean, we're building stuff like dual 21 subs just to like push air.
Yeah. And I mean, typically the trouble with low frequencies isn't that you can't make them powerful enough. It's that you can't make them directional enough. So servo drivers and horn-loaded drivers, as well as certain types of line arrays and certain types of columnar setups, those are all really designs that are meant to take the energy that you're dumping into your low frequencies, and instead of having them be omnidirectional, to make them go in a specified direction.
And there's a lot in the way that of not servo technology that
it's fucking mind blowing.
Oh yeah, I mean even in time aligning systems and whatnot, even putting stuff out of phase or out of polarity
for sure.
Yeah, I mean there's companies out there doing that as far as to making it just completely directional,
right?
Especially the low end.
Isobaric time aligned shit with speakers that face each other and are then ported, and stuff that's low to the ground, stuff that's high off the ground. I mean, there's and then of course processing, which you brought up. I mean, all of that stuff is really just designed to make it so that you have as many situations within earshot of the stage out to so many feet that you've got a good confluence of sound. How many times have you been in a room where mixed position, you got it going on, dude? Shit sounds amazing, dude. You stand 5 feet one direction,
it sounds like shit.
Terrible. Shit is awful.
It's bright. There's no low end.
And I'm highly aware of that anytime I play because I know, I can tell, I can see. I've played for 4,000 people before that are just crammed in.
Yeah.
And, the Kelly's thing, that happens every year. And when Third Rail plays, I mean, it's packed.
Yeah.
And we go out there and we play, and I can tell where the PA sounds good because you'll have this distinct line of people that don't give a fuck that are talking to each other like this. And then the people in front of them like throwing devil horns and, having a good time.
Yeah.
And you can see where how it sounds good and loud and thumpy.
Absolutely.
And then it starts to turn into just kind of like noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
That
what I'm
is
saying?
what happens.
And I can see that line.
That is what happens.
And some of your real pro guys that I've come across in the business, their biggest thing is literally the first 25 feet.
Yeah.
In front of the stage, where you don't get good coverage from the mid-high cabinets. You generally don't get good coverage from the lows, and that is generally where the dudes that are really fucking there to see the band are the true fans, the ones that are buying all their records and buying their bootleg shit or recording or whatever.
So really, most systems are really only aimed at the first 20 rows.
Well, no. The problem is that circle area, that little area, is where a lot of people don't pay attention, and that's where a lot, as being a system designer, which is part of what I do at work, that's where they really concentrate on, and they'll bust your balls if it doesn't sound awesome there. So they'll use like little front fill speakers.
Totally. They'll set up 2 PA systems effectively. One that's meant for the big house and one that's meant for just that area up front, and then use computer processing essentially to make it so they don't step on each other's toes.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
I mean, it gets trippy how you make that all happen.
Yeah.
Now, how does you ran
science.
monitors for Firehouse and all them guys on that show that we were at? I mean, what is their in-ear monitor sounding like to them?
Oh, you're gonna get me into a fucking story here.
Go ahead, man.
Boy.
Bring it on.
Night Ranger.
Night Ranger.
Well, I call them Nut Ranger now because they kind of ticked me off a little bit. So we, they all come in and they load in, and everybody's being pretty nice guys. Sound guy's pretty cool and whatever, and they get all set up, and I get all my stuff set up, and I've talked to the front of house guy and got all the lowdown of the way they want things, and I'm working on this old boat anchored, like first generation technology digital live console, the PM5D.
The PM5D.
It's got an old PCM card for the memory, and it's like,
dude.
I mean, and the thing got stuck in the board that night, and it took me 20 minutes to get it out of there to get back to him at the end of the night.
Right.
So anyway, they're all in-ears. They've got no side fill monitors, no wedges. And I mean, they're just exclusively ears.
So then, how do you know what's really actually going on?
I have to listen to it with my own ears.
Fuck.
Yeah.
So you just use like PFL in order to fucking do it?
PFL, and then I can listen to mixes. I can listen to single instruments.
Okay.
I'll also have a wedge next to me in case there's wedges up there.
Right.
That way I can,
You can hear what's in their wedge?
Right.
That's
And
awesome,
I'll
man.
use the same wedge, so I've got the same... the same thing going on that they have going on up there. So if I hear any problems, I can kind of tell a little better.
Sure.
As if you were up there.
Right.
So
Your left
anyway,
ear's fucked, though.
So they're all in ears, and we got rehearsal done, and it went swimmingly, and we get the next bands going and do all their stuff, and then we get Die Bomb up, and I get 4 minutes to sound check them with my 9 microphones. So we get all the bands struck, and the headliners up. And everything's going cool, and then all of a sudden they go to play their big fucking radio hit.
Don't tell me you love
No,
me.
it's the
Sister
ballad.
Christian. Sister Christian.
Yeah.
Which is a bad motherfucking song. I don't
It
give a
is.
fuck what
It
anybody
is. And,
says.
and I'm not taking anything away from their songwriting or how awesome
take something
of a
away
band.
from their songwriting.
No, I'm not. But I was gonna take away something from that drummer Kelly. Oh my God! So right before they start that song, he's freaking out with at his drum tech. He's like, "I've only got one ear. I've got one ear. This pack's fucked up. I've only got one ear." So I'm rushing to get this spare pack.
Right. Dialed into his fucking
the right
frequency,
frequency and get the other one from the drum tech. And he's like, he's still having problems. And now there's a delay in the fucking show.
Oh.
And I'm fucking flipping out because I just don't like that at
No,
all. I
no,
mean,
yeah. That's an awful situation.
A good sound guy, the audience doesn't give a shit about. A bad sound guy, everybody gives a shit about.
Yeah.
Everybody's all looking at
They'll
them.
first blame the sound guy for
Yeah.
fucking everything anyway.
Exactly.
Even before you actually get into the legitimate shit that sound guys can fuck up.
Right.
So
And
you're trying to switch these packs out.
yeah, I'm switching the packs out, and dude's still like, "Oh my God, I only got one." And then all of a sudden, he's got it like half in the thing. And he's
Right.
like, "Oh, this is in fucking mono now. I can't." And then he fucking throws the
it.
pack on the ground.
And it's not their pack.
It's not their pack. It belongs to a rental company that we got it
Right.
from.
So okay.
At that point, I'm
now he's
just
breaking
pissed.
shit.
Yeah.
But let's apply a little bit of logic here. If you plug in 2 different packs and they're suffering from the same difficulty, then it's
not the pack.
probably not the pack.
Right.
It's something in the signal that's driving the pack.
No, dude, you gotta think like a rock star. That
Exactly.
clearly means
Which
that the
not.
pack.
Which is not the.
No,
that's my fucking
that
point.
clearly means that pack should be destroyed
Should be destroyed.
and set on fire.
So I have this one pack left, and I'm about to hand it to him because the drum tech is pleading for me too, and I don't even want to give it to him at this
Right.
point. I want to go up there and just punch him in the back of the head and end up on TMZ.
Yeah.
This is the guy that beat up the drummer
Davenport
from Night
local
Ranger
support sound guy beat the piss out of the drummer
Yeah.
for Night Ranger the other
and
night.
goes to jail. So anyway,
A man by the name of Chicken Boy.
right.
Sister Chicken, your
Sister
time
Chicken,
has come.
Right. SmokingGun.com. Anyway, so I hand him the pack, and then the drum tech's like, "Hey, do you have any cheap headphones or earbuds?" And I'm like, "Yeah, well, I guess." And there's like these $5 buds. Throw them in there, and the whole thing fucking works. And I'm like, "You son of a bitch, I hate you.
Right.
And I will never work for you again. I swear to God." And the casino hired him this last year.
Yep.
And I was, and my boss was totally just trying to egg me on, being like, "Yeah, we got Night Ranger, and you're doing monitors." And I'm
They
like,
were just at
"The hell I am."
They were just at the across from the Purgatory, like
Really? Yeah.
because we played outside
at
afterwards.
the waterfront.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be outside, and then I would have had to do that again.
Oh.
It would have been on. Ooh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Night
So it was
Ranger.
either bad cable or bad driver in his fucking.
Yeah.
Yep.
His shit failed. His big, expensive.
Custom
Just
fucking
gone.
made.
Yeah. But of course, it was the fucking sound guy's
You're
fault.
right. Exactly. Right.
And they
But
wonder
what-
why we're dicks.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm looking at my thing. I'm seeing fucking R and
Yeah.
L flipping here, so I know I'm driving this.
So
pack
tell
right.
me what they have in their ears. Then are they hearing delays and reverbs too? Is it glassy in there? Or is it really dry rehearsal room in there?
As
I think
far
it
as
depends.
far as they're concerned, it's pretty effects laden.
It's glassed up.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that on the episode. I've kind of subscribed to the idea that I need to start doing that because
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
have an environment on stage that sounds like dry and shitty, and you're singing high notes and
Yep.
screaming like that, if it it sounds kind of people don't understand that are in the audience. You know, they're not hearing the guy dry.
Right.
They're hearing delays and a little bit of, you know, glass on there, especially a singer like me. So I was like, well, why? I've always lived by the rule of no effects in the monitors. A pro would never have effects in the monitors.
Not true.
I disagree. Yeah.
Not true.
You need to hear
it's
your
about the
pure
gear.
voice through the monitor.
It's really about the gear and the limited frequency response. And
Well, I figured that out. One setup at the fair, they had delays going on through the monitors, and it sounded great. It put me in the puts you in the moment when you're hitting a note. You can ride that thing. I talked about this.
Sure.
And then you go to the next stage, and they just run you dry. They won't put effects in it, and then if they do, it's a real shitty.
Right.
And you're just, this now.
right.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you feel on stage. You know, and
Well, and I'll give you a prime example. One of my I'm gonna catch y'all for this. One of my favorite shows I've ever done. Christopher Cross.
Christopher Cross is a bad motherfucker.
Cross. He came in and did
I don't
a
even
show
know
at
who
the
that
casino. He did Arthur's theme from the movie Arthur.
When you get caught between the moon
Total
and New York
like
City.
Oh, okay.
Late 70s, early 80s,
Right.
Soft rock.
Yeah, soft rock.
Love
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Post-
well, anyway,
you know,
he's got a total LA band coming in. And I mean, they're total pros, but everybody's got in-ears. So instead of having like one reverb going into the monitors, you have to have several. And I had a digital board with like 16 effects, and they're like, I want a reverb for this, and I want a reverb for this, and I'm just like, oh God, how am I going to do all this? And 16 monitor mixes, and Christopher Cross walks in, he's like, hey, what's your name? And I'm like, I'm Eric, and he's like, how you doing, Eric? Ultimate Ears, they just gave me these 3 different sets. I'm an endorsee, and I'm going to try these out. And he literally started chucking them left and right. But I mean, super nice guy. But I mean, there was a conga reverb, there was a Christopher Cross reverb, there was a piano reverb, there was a delay on his vocal, there was a delay on backup singer vocal, and oh my God, you just went through the mixes and listening to them on headphones, and it was just fucking amazing.
It's a convergence in a lot of ways of studio work and live work.
Yeah.
You know, because what I was going to say is, from the standpoint of using effects and monitoring and approaching things that way in order to specifically alter the performance of a person, studio guys have been doing that shit from the fucking beginning, where they realized, oh, we put some different sound in this girl's headphones and she sings her ass off.
Yep.
Now, that is not going to be printed to tape.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something different over here. But it's going to totally change the way that she drives the way she's hitting this tape.
And it's going to get me the performance I want.
Boom.
Right. Yep.
Boom. Monitoring then becomes everything for everything you're doing. Whether, like, I was for a while on this trip of when I was recording direct guitars, of using just really bad, overblown fucking practice amp guitar tones because I like the way it felt under my fingers, but then not recording that.
Oh,
you
man.
know? Putting some other sound on it, something that's a lot more genteel and a lot more, you know.
Vocals is a weird thing because I mean, you know, you get the headphones on. If they're too loud, you're gonna try to sing too sharp. If they're not loud enough, then you're gonna sing flat.
Plus, you're getting in and out of the mic.
And then pretty soon you're like got one off and one on, and you're like, maybe I'll try it this way, and then pretty soon the headphones are off.
Right.
Because sometimes you get too lost trying to hit the right note. What's my note? Oh. You know what I mean? Instead, you just want the "when we make love." You just want that line, and then you're like, "When we make." Is it or is it a when? Okay, I'm ready. When we make, you know, you're trying to do it too perfect. You know,
when you
get
got
caught up
that
in
shit swimming in reverb, like that confidence is already there. Yeah, it's like you don't even have to think about it. It's like boom, right there.
And also, when you're skillfully using dynamics processing, compressors and limiters, like if you've got a limiter that's set up to really just kind of brick wall above when you're getting in it, but then something else to deal with some more of the soft kind of transients that are going on, like, you know, something a little more mild. Dude, that completely changes the way you get in, how you can stay in, how you have to get out, how it sounds. I mean, dude.
And the front of house guy can totally just like rip up and do some shit with that.
Absolutely. And you didn't used to be able to.
Yeah.
The advent of digital mixing, particularly like some of these systems that are allowing you to use like modern plugins. I mean, you can imitate all of the studio hardware live. You can have 1176 compressors in your fucking live rig.
You can bring your studio to the fucking live show.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
And a lot of bands do nowadays.
They do. They just cheap.
But
unfortunately, it's not 24-bit 96K. Sorry, Avid.
So Eric, you were in a coma recently.
Oh yeah, I had a little bit of a medical hiccup. I've had blood pressure problems for several years, and been kind of wavering between taking care of myself and not, being living rock star or whatever. Going and playing shows and drinking up and smoking cigarettes and all that fun stuff, and not taking care of myself. And 4 or 6 weeks ago, it caught up to me, I guess you'd say, and ended up with respiratory failure of all things.
Wow.
And the coma was more of a way to allow the medical staff to, put a tube down my throat and down into my lungs and all that stuff and get me going, because I, of course, threw a fit and was having a panic attack because I couldn't breathe, which is why I went in the first place. And they were, I was like, yeah, what do I do? And they're like, well, we're going to have to put, tubes in you. And I'm like, the hell you are? And they're like, yeah, the hell we are. Here, boom. And then they hit me with some fucking Michael Jackson drugs.
Yeah,
some Bill Cosby drugs.
They gave me the milk.
Gave you the milk, man.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor, can I have my milk?
Yep. And apparently when I'm finding out, because I was out for 4 days and don't know shit about those 4 days, they tried to have me come to and like twice, and I wasn't having. I was flipping out because all the shit coming in and out of me, and third or fourth time they're like, okay, well, Eric, in order to get out of this, you're gonna have to do these things. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I did, and then finally I had come to, and
so
realized,
all you know is you were in the emergency room saying you couldn't breathe, and the next thing. You're kind of just you're waking up and kind of not knowing what's going on.
Well, I was coming back from a show. We were playing up in Wisconsin. And I was playing with the Standards, and just felt progressively worse through the day, and more congested in the lungs. And by the time I got home, I was flipping out because I just couldn't breathe. And I talked to the girl, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe you should just call an ambulance. And she's like, well, you want me to take you to the hospital? I'm like, you ain't going to want to see me freaking out. And I flipped out to a point where I was hyperventilating because, just trying to get air.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember making it to the hospital. I remember being in the ambulance, but that's the last thing I remember.
You were literally not able to take a breath?
No, it was really short and really quick, and I was literally hyperventilating once they got
freak me out too, man.
Oh man, yeah, it was.
You're like, this is it.
Yeah, it was very scary.
So they needed to get an air tube down your throat.
Air tube.
And in order to do that, you'd prefer to be unconscious for that.
That was the only way I was having it, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part of it either, but they had that, and then what they wound up doing. Well, what ended up happening to me is I had edema from basically congestive heart failure from the years of high blood pressure and not, taking care of it, if you will. And it had gotten up into my lungs and basically gave me like a form of pneumonia,
super pneumonia.
but so bad that, you just couldn't even get air
breathing
anymore.
Capacity was way down.
And they basically pumped 30 pounds of shit out of my body and got it to where I could breathe again. And at that point, it kind of fixed that, but then it unearthed these other issues that I'd been either having or having now, or just from not, taking care of yourself.
Smoking, drinking.
Yeah.
Did they tell you you're done smoking?
Yeah, they told me I'm done smoking.
But what'd you say?
No, I said yeah.
Okay.
I said yeah.
Okay.
I was already kind of on the road to wanting to do that, but this was a huge wake-up call.
So are you there? You're a non-smoker then?
Well, I took the Uncle Buck method, so I have the occasional cigar. I don't inhale, but I quit smoking cigarettes.
That's good.
I promised my...
Careful with them cigars.
Yeah, I'm careful.
I'm telling you firsthand,
that road.
Yeah, they still have nicotine in them, and they still absorb into your mouth, and that demon comes back pretty quick, man.
It does. It does.
And there's nothing worse than that low of feeling like, fuck, I'm right back in that fucking puddle again, and I know how to get out of this, and it's not fun.
Oh, I'm there.
And you have to do it. You can't sit and smoke cigarettes all day and inhale burning leaves all day long and think that you're going to be cool for the rest of your life, unless you're in the Rolling Stones.
Exactly.
Well, right.
Jesus
you can
Christ.
have fucking complete, blood replacement.
But
I don't think
it's
I've
no
ever been
bullshit
addicted to
either.
cigarettes.
As far as the people that say, quitting heroin's one thing, but quitting nicotine's another. It is no bullshit.
It's a weird animal. It definitely is a weird animal.
All I can say is, even though I smoked for some period of time, and you were in my presence during that time.
I remember when you quit.
Yeah, I don't I don't know that I was ever addicted to cigarettes in the way that you guys are. I really don't, because my experience was completely different. It was something that was really quite easy to drop. So
yeah, and it's been rough on me.
My life was planned around it. In other words, like if family wanted me to come up for Christmas and they were the side of the family that frowns upon that type of thing, I literally had to be like, oh, fuck, I'm not gonna be able to smoke. I'm not to sneak out and smoke and try not to smell like it. And they smell it. They just don't say nothing.
Yeah.
I get to feel like an asshole for a while. And, it just little things in life. Like you go somewhere, it's like, am I going to be gone more than 20 minutes? I better take my smokes, man. And if you panic, if you don't have them.
Oh, yeah. My life revolved around it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You started extremely young.
I think I was like 14 or 15 when I started smoking.
I thought you, like maybe when you started smoking regularly, but I think you told me you had idolized smoking before that, and that you had tried it and gotten in big fucking trouble.
Oh, yeah.
For smoking when you were really young.
Oh, yeah.
8, 9 years old.
Oh, yeah. The first time I got busted, I think I was like 7 years old or something like that.
Yeah, wow.
I was an older kid in the neighborhood. And,
sure.
And my mom was like, if I catch you again, blah blah blah, I'm gonna tell your dad. And the next thing I'm like, okay, fine. Yeah. I'm around another set of friends.
Right.
And then one of the people in the group that I got caught with the first time came around the corner and saw me, and I'm like, oh fuck. And Dad got told, and
but we grew up in a time that, I know for me, I grew up in a time, we all did, that, your mom, if she smoked or something, she could send you to the fucking gas station with a note and $1. You know what I mean? Like, I need a pack of Benson and Hedges menthol ultralight in a box.
Here's my
You know what I mean? It's like you got to memorize.
Yeah,
You just hand a note to the person, and then, you get your, and
And
they're
if
like,
they
okay.
don't give a shit, they give the note back to you.
Right.
You put the note in your pocket.
So you can use it again, yeah.
Now, were you children of smokers, both of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Moms or dads or both?
Both.
Okay.
I only had my mom,
That's
so
right.
yeah, and she smoked, but it was Benson and Hedges, so it wasn't really smoking. It was just something to hold while you drink coffee.
Was Benson and Hedges those little skinny fuckers?
No, they
like
weren't skinny. They were
Capris
just
or
long
Virginia
and menthol
Slims?
and stuff. Yeah.
What about your mom? What brand?
They were high fashion.
Virginia Slims.
Virginia Slims,
Menthol
dude.
Light
Menthol Light
120s.
120s, dude. Because, I was gonna fucking say,
Vagina
dude.
Slimes.
Vagina Slimes, dude.
I remember when I started smoking for real, because I was totally against it forever. I was in the sports and the football and all that stuff, and then finally I quit the football team because I found a girlfriend. Finally, I'm getting, and that took the place of going to get my face beat in at football practice.
Right.
So then, she smoked.
Oh.
And I was like, you can't smoke, bitch. And she tried to hide like she didn't. And then, I'd always find them
You can
in her
tell.
purse or something. And she wouldn't around me.
Yeah.
But then I found a pack in my glove box when I was getting off work at Joomer's one night. And, I was like putting in a good day's work, I felt like an adult.
Yep.
I'm 17 or 18, something, 16, 17, something like that. And I get off work, I find them things. I'm going over the 74 bridge listening to Tora Tora. I can remember it right now.
Wow.
And I'm like, my shit's about to change right now.
Yeah.
I'm about to turn into somebody else. Watch this. I don't care. And I lit the cigarette. I smoked one, got nauseous.
Yep.
Smoked another
Dizzy.
one, got nauseous. Smoked another one, fell in love. And then I remember that night, I just broke them out right in front of my girlfriend. I'm like, check it out. Get them out if you got them.
Oh,
And she was like, thank God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not bad, man.
And then from then on, it was nonstop, just. But I remember buying the first pack, and this is a naive kid. You go to the gas station, and you're like underage. You're trying to act like you're not. You're like,
Right.
I need a pack of Marlboro, and you say Marlboro because you don't know how to say Marlboro yet.
Right.
There was always
You
the kid that
practice-
said. There was always the kid that said Marblos.
Yeah, Marlboros. If you said that, they're like, let me see your ID. You had to get Marlboro down bad,
Marlboro.
like
Yeah.
Pat, And I still was like, I need a pack of Marlboro Lights.
Marlboro.
You know what I mean? Like, and they're like,
Marlboros.
let's see your
Let's see your
ID,
ID,
kid.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
funny. But
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
how impactful in both of your sort of smoking careers? How impactful was the sense of society that came with smoking? The fact that you were plugged into something that like was bigger than you in
Well, it
society.
changed
like you're
over
cool.
time.
Like you're cool now. You know what I mean?
Because back when I started, it was fashionable still.
Yeah, I guess you get kind of a bit. It kind of goes with the territory,
Yeah.
And then
I mean, we all watched movies where the main characters were badasses.
Now I feel
and
the
chain smoked.
opposite, though.
Yeah.
If when I light up a cigar or something around certain people, I feel like I'm like, oh God, they're looking at me like scumbag.
You know, like you just cussed in front of
Exactly.
Christians.
Right, yeah. And I'm like, God, I gotta get rid of this thing because I want to be an adult now, and not, you don't want to be rolling up to preschool, dropping your kid off, throwing that cigarette butt out before you go in the door. You know what I mean? You don't want to be that asshole.
Yeah, and back in the day, you'd come across the same kind of people that opposed smoking or whatever, and you're like, fuck you. You know,
guys are fucking squares.
Yeah, you're a square. Give me a square, will you?
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke these.
But
squares,
nowadays,
you
you're like,
squares. sure.
self-conscious because, I mean, it's really, way less fashionable.
It is
now,
way
and-
less fashionable. That's true.
But I'm working on. I think I'm 10 days no smoking. So whenever
Hey,
you're
all right, man.
So
Amen.
That's
it's a battle. I'm on
Amen.
Chantix though right now,
Yeah.
and it kind of helps with that. Makes you crazy and pissed off and suicidal.
Sure,
And,
sure. I've
Have
heard a
awesome
lot
dreams.
of Chantix stories.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Dude.
So and knowing how it works too, I know exactly what it does. So
Sure.
going in, I was like, because
Right.
my pulmonary doctor just basically, he's Indian. I said this before. He just kind of looked me right in the face and he said, "It's time to stop fucking around, Brian.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. You're gonna have full blown emphysema in the next few years if you don't stop doing that.
Right.
That's just how it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Your lymph nodes are swollen right now. You're getting spots on your lungs. You keep doing what you're doing, you're going to be one of the guys carrying the oxygen tank around.
Sure.
He
Yep.
just didn't pull any punches.
Didn't pull any punches.
He's like,
This is
what
what
do you
you're-
need to quit,
I've seen
man?
this before, yep.
What do you need to quit? Do we need to do the Chantix thing? Did that work for you last time? I was like, yeah, I quit for like 2 months. He's like, done. Called it in, free. Got it for free. He got it for me
Sweet.
for free and shit.
Wonderful.
Here you go. Because he
Sweet.
wants me to quit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He wants you to live.
Right. He's like, you got
Exactly.
2 kids. You're too young to be fucking with this, Brian.
Exactly.
Get done with it. Let's move on.
Hey,
Yep.
it's good to have a doctor these days that
Yeah.
even gives a shit about
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah. And then I was
Right.
like, what about pot?
And he's like,
Well,
I think what he said was make sure it's medicinal level so that you
Yeah.
don't get like mold and bat droppings in it.
sure.
yep,
Basically is what he
no
said.
mold, no guano.
It's
and-
funny how your doctor won't even be like, you should not do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
well, just make sure it's this good kind. You know what I mean?
Well, and plus, it's the whole thing with making it so that the amount of actual smoke that you have to be in contact with is minimized.
Yeah.
You don't want some shit you got to sit there and fucking chief on for an hour in order to
Right.
get something.
I'm telling you right now, if it becomes legal in Iowa and I can go buy edibles, I'll go broke.
Yeah?
I
You
know
think
I
so?
will. I'll be eating gummy bears like it's
Right.
going out of style. You know what I
It'd
mean?
be hard not to. I mean,
yeah. Well, not during the day, just
Well,
at
no,
night when
yeah.
the kids
Yeah.
finally go to bed
Yeah.
and I want to watch a documentary. It's like have a couple gummy bears.
sure.
Like,
Although the thing that's
Melt.
fun, you see, now the thing about edibles is that the rise and fall time of
Yeah.
the effects is completely different. It's much more in line with standard, hallucinogens. Where
Tell me about it.
You're going to be on there for several hours. You may wake up and still be rolling. You know what I mean? Not
They
a
see
good
me
idea to do during the
rolling.
week.
Not just boom right now and then it's kind
Yep,
of.
exactly. Yeah,
but you're
yeah.
feeling a lot better now.
I am feeling a hell of a lot better. I mean, my
Yeah.
voice still sounds a little goofy, but I mean, I had tubes in and out, and I'm not gonna lie, I
You
puff
sound
on
like the same dude.
cigars.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, dude,
But,
at least it was tubes, man. Fuck solid state.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I was hitting a point to where I was so swollen with edema that I couldn't walk a block without just being completely out of breath. I couldn't, lift anything. I couldn't go up. I mean, now I'm just.
And
I'm taking
what
like
happens?
2-mile walks at night. And
That's
it's,
awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
guys
man, it's
like
awesome,
us
dude.
that work in the industry that we're in, we probably don't carry very good health coverage.
Right.
And so when you incur something like that, I mean, that could wipe you out.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. Forget it.
Because I know for a fact, I have some insurance that I buy into. I have, and for my kids and all that. And
Right.
I had that bronchoscopy where they put me out, and I'll talk about that on another episode or something. But that was a great experience. I loved that. The
Bronchoscopy.
local anesthesia. Oh, baby. Anyway, I get to do it again. Another one where they cut my throat. And
It just
going,
sounds like them putting a camera inside you to find out if you're a Denver fan.
Bronchoscopy.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, there is some semen in here. He must be a Bronco. But anyway, I had to, and I saw what was actually being charged to my my insurance, and I'm like, dude, if I didn't buy into what I have now, I'd be so fucked.
Oh yeah.
I'd be
as
so
far as
fucked.
insurance goes, I was really fortunate to, while I was out, my girlfriend had talked to the hospital,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't really like a medical advocate per se, but somebody that knew the business and managed to get it to where I could get that stuff, taken care of, knowing that I was in the kind of business I was in. I mean, there's not enough full-time employees. I fall through the cracks at work to be able to even be offered insurance for me or my children.
Yeah.
And so I was fortunate that way. However, on the other end, it was basically 3 of the busiest weeks of my, of my summer work,
Working,
which,
yeah.
So you lost your income for
I
quite
lost,
a while.
Yeah, I lost basically 3 weeks of income.
So that's why all the coolest bands in the Quad Cities are going to jam up at Rascals just
That's
for fun
right.
and
Holy
like
crap.
and
That's
raise
right.
put a little money together for.
This is where Eric shuts his mouth because he doesn't really get to talk about this shit. We're gonna fucking go off on this.
If there was ever a time to go see a grouping of bands, everybody and their brother's going to be at this show. There's going to be an outside stage and an inside stage, right, up at Rascals, October 3rd, and Travis is looking up who all's playing, but I know Dive Bomb gets to close the outside stage.
Yes.
So that'd be fun. And what's fucked up because all the other bands are all original, legit bands, and here's this 80s tribute band smushed in the middle of all of it.
You know what? I mean, it's all about entertainment.
The way I looked at it, though, I was like, I know 1152 and 3 Years Hollow and all them people are going to be a part of this, and they're going to seem so much more legit than what we're doing, but that's not what it's about that night. That night, it's like, if we can bring our 40 or whatever people to come buy beer and kind of be a part of it, then that we're doing our job, right? Yeah. So, I'm happy.
So it's 14 bands.
Jesus.
For 12 hours.
Starting at
2 p.m. 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. at Rascals in Moline, Saturday, October 3rd. You've got 1152. Catalina is getting back together to do a show.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pretty cool. 3 Years Hollow. One Night Standards. So apparently Eric's going to play his own gig.
I guess so.
I guess fucking so.
You going to run any sound?
No, but I did tell my boss I was going to help him put the PA outside.
Cool.
My boss is actually one of the sponsors for the...
Who's running our sound?
You inside or outside?
Outside.
It could very well be... I might just... keep that. Maybe me and my boss will hang out a little bit and...
Anyway.
We'll have some fun.
Yeah.
Then you got As Big as a Mouse.
Yeah.
Which they've had some lineup changes and looks like they got some really good players going in that band right now.
Who?
As Big as a Mouse.
Yeah.
But is Mike Gustafson in
that?
that?
Mikey,
Yep,
Mikey's
and,
playing.
I believe Craig Churchill's
playing drums now, which that's a really good move, I think.
Yeah.
Then Sugar Nipples, obviously Matt Truitt.
Yeah.
Last Glimpse, Steve Krug and Jeffrey Loader and David Hughes. David Hughes is going to be playing in 3 of the bands, and they're
He's
separated.
a busy motherfucker.
Well, they're separated by about 4 hours each, so that's kind of fucking hilarious.
Faded.
Yeah. And then Drama Major, as opposed to Drama Major. Yeah. Drama Major is going to be playing. Weston Weber and Andy Andrew Cowan. Yep. Then we've got the Chris Avey Band. Those guys are fucking been
They're
around.
badass.
Yeah. Who's all playing in that now?
Oh wow! He's got a bunch.
Is that Chris?
Abdo's
Chris
in
and
that
Wes
band.
I love Abdo.
Oh, you gotta love Abdo,
guy.
dude. He was fucking cool hanging out with Abdo. I hadn't seen him in a while, but
He's a
he made the
crazy
luau.
Yeah.
Cool, and a great bass player.
Oh, man.
Maybe, and I don't know why he hasn't done any original bands. This is a call out to you, Dave Abdo. Do some original music, because the 1 or 2 times that I ever jammed with him playing like my own shitty songs, the stuff he came up with was fucking brilliant, and he came up with it right away. So why that dude?
One of them dudes.
Yep,
Yeah.
he's one of them dudes.
How do you think he'd look in a big, long-haired black wig?
Like a dick. Then Dead Forms, which is my band.
Awesome.
Yep. So we're gonna be playing, I think, second. So we'll be on it like just after 3 or something.
Oh, I'm
like
gonna be
that.
there.
Yep. So come on out and check us out. That's me and Chris Ermy and Dave Hughes
Again.
and Joel Rose.
Nice.
We've had a couple of practices since he got his Roland guitar synth. And
Very
we've been
nice.
getting that together, and it's sounding super cool. Especially all the acoustic guitar tones that he's been able to add and stuff. So this is going to be pretty exciting. He is flipping out. Age of Stars, which I think that is Justin Farley
and
Doug
Trent Lindholm and Doug Brundies.
Doug Brundies. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
can't wait
should be
to see
cool.
that. That'll be cool.
Yep. And then Dive Bomb, which are a bunch of faggots.
Pretty much.
They like hair and mascara.
We're intermission entertainment, I think, is what we are. So they can get shit changed over to inside.
And meanwhile,
Wicked Liz and the Belly Swirls, who I haven't seen forever.
they've been around.
They've been
forever, I can
around
tell you
forever,
that
yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Jeez.
and they're still at it.
We used to call him Lickin' Jizz and the Belly Hurls.
Yep.
Liquid Whiz.
Liquid Whiz.
See, I always love all the
That was a
other
bird-
band
that was
names.
a bird, isn't it?
Girls. Yeah,
Liquid
yeah.
Whiz.
Liquid Whiz. That was a Rob Cimarusty.
Yeah, those cats are really cool. I just
Yep.
ran into a couple of them last weekend at River Sounds Festival.
Oh, okay.
And I mean no
that's the Kelly
disrespect
brothers.
at all. I'm not trying to rip. I just say everybody
Yeah.
around here tries to find an alternate name for
Yeah.
your
It
band
lends
name. And it's
itself
gotta
well.
be
Right.
the
Lends
most
itself well.
graphic, gross thing
Yeah,
that you can
of
come
course.
up with.
Absolutely,
You know what I
man.
mean?
Of course.
But that's the Kelly brothers.
Yeah.
Bob and Leo Kelly.
Bob and Leo Kelly.
And then of course Wicked Liz herself. And then it says that Lilith's Burlesque is going to be doing something. Now I don't know if that's a closing affair or somewhere in the middle, or if it's going to open
I
up the
am not really
inside.
sure.
I don't know.
I'm not really too super sure what the order is going to be, but if you're there from the beginning to the end, it doesn't really fucking matter what the order is.
I'm pretty sure
You'll
that
see everything.
1152 and 3 Years Hollow are the two last things that are happening.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
I think you're right.
yeah.
Yep. So
Probably.
save the breast for last.
But anyway, I'm glad to be a part of it. People ask me, when do you guys play again? And I keep telling them, October 3rd.
Yep.
I don't like to play a whole lot. And I'm looking forward to this one, even though we're not, it's not for money. It's just for fun. This is going to be probably one of the funnest nights since the jam.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because everybody's going to be there.
Absolutely,
You know what I mean?
man.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Right,
Yeah, I'm
I
looking
am
forward to
too.
seeing all
And,
my
and
buddies.
it's really weird because I actually found out about this the night I came to, got out of ICU, and I said, well, I'm going to call Kenny and let him know I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Because me and him are good buddies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, Kenny, how's it going? He's like, holy shit, how you doing? The tubes are out? All right, the tubes are out. Dude, these guys, all these bands are putting this benefit for, and I'm like, no.
Benefits, I know, man.
No.
I
And then
know.
I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I've been asleep for 4 days, and I'm probably not going to be able to work for a while and all this, but they're just the support is just humbling. I mean, I've sweated a little bit, and it's really nice to all these guys band together.
Yeah.
And honestly, to make it cool on me, I really want to try to make something to maybe like put out, some of these bands or, some other forms of bands together in the future to like, do stuff for charity and stuff.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if they can band together for, a down and out has-been musician that didn't take care of himself and ended up in the damn hospital and, now he's got to take care of himself. Well, that's one thing I could do is I'm taking care of myself is to,
I think what it does is it just proves that there's a community here that
There is, man, and it's strong as fuck here.
I know how you feel about it. I would feel the same, man. You feel humbled and you feel like, wow, are these people? I didn't know that this many people would actually go out of their way for this. But you know what? It ain't like everybody's got to go dig a ditch.
No.
Everybody's going to get up there and rock and roll and have a good time. We're basically going to be celebrating.
Exactly.
Still having a good friend around,
Exactly.
That's
And
basically what we're going to be doing.
We
And
like
to
your
me, it's
smell.
like, holy crap, all these people do give a shit. Man. Oh, yes.
Yeah, but only this time.
This time.
Yeah, right.
Don't die again, motherfucker, because
that was your get out of jail free card right there.
Dude, you would not believe.
No. Yeah.
I mean, this one took a while to bounce back from, I definitely got a wake up call, but yet it's an awakening because I don't need to just exist. You need to live.
Yeah.
You need to live, and part of that's your vessel, and if you don't
Your
take
meat
care of that,
wagon.
you ain't got
Yep,
shit.
that's right.
Your meat wagon.
You got to take care of this corpse.
Because it affects everything.
Yeah.
It especially affects up here.
Absolutely.
And once you get a chance to get that back, it's almost like it's not a free pass because obviously there was a big road to recovery, but I'll take that any day over being dead. That's for goddamn sure.
Every day is a free pass. Every day is
Every
a free
day's a
pass.
gift.
Every day's a gift.
Every
That's
day's a
right.
gift.
Yep.
And I think what we see is we get a reminder of that from you and your situation. So it's kind of helps other people as well.
Right.
Sure.
And I don't preach to people because I never took care of myself that well, and now that I am, it's not like me to go, oh, you're a smoker and that's why you're having health problems now.
Like I watched a documentary with Keith Richards last night, and that dude
I've almost
pisses me
watched
off
that.
because he's always got a half like ash hanging off a cigarette all the time, like and drinking straight whiskey,
Right.
like I don't know, I just like to play the blues.
Right.
And he's all wrinkled up, and you know what I mean. And then
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck? How are you still alive, dude?
He's
You know what
part
I mean?
cockroach.
Yeah, my doctor said I'd be dead in 2 years, you know, and
Yeah.
you get
Yeah.
to do whatever the hell you want.
Keith Richards, cockroaches, coincidence? I
Right.
think not.
Exactly.
Anyway, man, I'm really happy that you came on the podcast. I think this was
is a blast,
a lot
dude.
of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, everybody, we're on Spreaker now too. I went ahead and started a Spreaker thing so that just the audio goes up. So if people want to download it, it's easy. Just hit the download button, download the audio of podcast to your phone, then you can listen to it
What's
on
it
your phone
called? What's the
use
word?
Spreaker.
God, why does that sound like some kind of ejaculation?
It does.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
spreakered all over this chick's
Let's put it like
belly.
this: it's a free domain for me to get audio out. So if people want to download it and listen to it on their phone instead of using data, because it's hard to watch a YouTube video on your phone, you're using data and all that stuff.
Sure.
So if you just want to listen to it, it's on Spreaker under Brian Miner or Minor Disturbance Radio, one of the two. Anyway, so you could do that, and like I say, hit the subscribe button. I don't give a fuck what you do. Don't do it then.
Yeah.
Don't even watch
Yeah.
this if
Yeah,
you don't
never
want to.
mind.
Because I'm pretty sure that the
Just
club.
forget everything we
I'm
said.
pretty sure that the club that we've built of people don't give a fuck about what I'm saying right now because they're like, we've already done that, Brian.
Yes,
Okay.
bored
so,
with you.
Anyway, so thanks for watching again, man. If, as you could tell, I have a fucking blast doing this shit. And I hope that our guests have a good time and the people that listen to it enjoy it, man. But
I have a blast watching it, and I've
Yeah.
had a blast being here. That's for damn sure.
yep, this is a
Got a
good
good
time.
thing going here.
Hey, thank you very much, man. So anyway, we'll see you next time when we have some more dumb shit to talk about. See you then.
Ow!
Oh shit! I said